watching the replay. You know, it's early on the show. We're going to go through all the news and all the info. Much love to everybody in here, guys. But we're going to introduce our special guest, all right?
So make sure to grab a beverage of choice, kick back, relax, because we're about to jump into some Cowboy news and updates, guys. So first and foremost, Jamal, Cowboys Abroad, Diane, Ari, Steve, thank you guys for joining us here. So speaking of, we're going to go ahead and jump right to...
Yeah, so give me a moment here as we introduce our guest. This guy, he'll introduce you to, you know, he'll be speaking for himself here in a minute. So
yes, give us just a second. We'll make sure you can see him, guys.
Yes.
But joining us here tonight at MCF is Ari Temkin. So Ari, what is up?
What is up?
Why don't you tell my Cowboys family here, what is it that you do?
I am the pregame show and postgame show host on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, 105 through the Fan locally, and I also stream on Phantom, which is the New World Order of sports media, broadcasting. People are, we are, the digital channels. So we're delivering live sports content to YouTube, to Facebook, to Twitter, to Twitch. So check it out at facebook.com/watch Phantom. And I know you guys check out the stream. I do every day at 12 Central, 12 to 1 Central. I talk Cowboys on Phantom. So, yeah, a lot of Cowboys. I've got the Cowboys Beat podcast coming out every Friday. So I'm just getting ready to post that, and that'll be out tomorrow morning with Joe Looney and Jeff Heath, my guests this week. So a lot of Cowboy stuff going on, guys.
Yeah, I mean, just on those credentials alone, you've got a little bit of a behind-the-scenes kind of, you know, feel and look for the Cowboys. I mean, you do a lot of stuff for the actual Dallas Cowboys. So we can't be, you know, happier to have you on here, and thank you for giving, you know, some of your time to be on here, guys. Make sure you subscribe.
Go check it out,
yes,
guys.
All the links.
Phantom, we're gonna be posting the links in the description of this video as soon as it's over, guys. So make sure to check it out there.
Yeah, subscribe and watch him, guys. He gives out some great information every afternoon. Here on the East Coast is 1 o'clock to 2, but we try to catch him. Myself or fiance. Yes. So, you know, Ari puts out all the, you know, in-depth information about the Cowboys. And, you know, we have a couple questions for you here.
Yeah, so I actually want to just jump right to it, Ari. So, you know, I know I've heard your thoughts on some of the issues we had in this past Carolina Panthers game. And while player execution definitely played a big part in that, coaching and offensive play calling, you know, it was definitely a big part of that problem as well. I mean, what are your thoughts overall on what some of the key problems were in that loss?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think when you look that bad on offense, or really when you look that bad on one side of the ball, you know, it's not just one thing. It's a lot of different things. So, I mean, yeah, Dak was bad. I think the play calling wasn't great. It wasn't inventive. You know, the offensive line struggled mightily. So, I mean, I think it was just like a lot of things, you know, that conspired against the Cowboys offense in week one. You know, I think when it comes to the Cowboys offense and their play calling, there is a fatigue for Jason Garrett amongst Cowboys Nation. There's no question about that. I mean, it's just annoying. I mean, he's just the same even-keeled, kind of annoying guy. So his personality is not really conducive to, you know, fire up a fan base. So that's part of it. But, you know, Cowboys fans want more creativity on offense. You know, they want an offense that is not predictable. And so I think when you hear all training camp and, you know, you see him in Oxnard and you see him in Frisco and they talk about creativity and, you know, installing new pieces and then they, you know, we see what we saw in week one, it's really deflating, you know, and I think that was the issue. You know, I think they had a game plan against Carolina to get the ball out quickly. You know, they were worried about their ability to control the line of scrimmage, and so they didn't want to have Dak, you know, get into these deep drops and try to fling the ball down the field. So the issue with Garrett is, you know, he installs a game plan and that's it. You know, there's no adapting, there's no evolving. So that was the issue. I mean, you know, their offensive line had a lot of penalties that kept them off schedule, and they just never really wanted to go downfield with the football. So, you know, I think their flaws were on full display in week one, and I expect them to, you know, take some more chances and you know, not just have this sort of West Coast style of quick outs and get the ball quickly in bubble screens sort of offense that we saw in week one.
Yeah, I mean, without question, yeah, everything you're saying is to my opinion, is spot on, especially about the way Cowboy Nation feels about Garrett. Although there's some people that still like him and still, blaming the execution, which again, you're right. It is more than one thing. It's multiple things we saw. But my thing is foundational. I've been saying this here on My Cowboys Family since our first video last year. And I've been saying that Jason Garrett is consistently average. And he's consistently, like you said, boring, robotic, whatever you want to call it. But it's not even about that. I don't want to even pick on him. It's more of, you have Tavon Austin. Scott Linehan speaks about using him 12 to 24 touches in a game, and he gets one touch on 10 snaps. On 10 snaps, we have the 82 snaps for our tight ends. And so to me, that's the offense is not working because Linehan and all his little tricks and differences and originality is reverting. All he did was do a jet sweep to him, which we've seen with 4 different guys the past 5 years with Linehan. So,
same exact play call. I was watching the game with Jesse Holly, who we do the pre and post game show together, and he called it right as he went in motion. It was like, oh, here comes the jet sweep. We've seen that, like you just said. We saw it with Lucky Whitehead. We saw it with Ryan Switzer. It's the same thing. So, I think that was like the most dejecting part, and that's why, if you listen to the post game show, it was like so myopic, and it was, I hosted a talk show in Austin for 2 years, in San Antonio for 6.5 years. So, I've covered the Cowboys for a long time. And I'm going to talk about this on my podcast tomorrow, but like when you host a talk show every day, you try to be measured and not be so myopic. And, but when you host a post game show, it's completely the opposite. It's like overreaction and everybody sucks and this sucks. And it's fun because it is. When you lose, it sucks, and you want to blame everybody, and you want to get pissed off. And so I get it. It's fun to do that. And so I think, like, that was, the biggest reason for the overreaction, if you will, was because everybody was expecting more of creativity, and we just didn't see it. And so it was like, oh, okay, all this stuff we've been hearing about all off season. They talked about Dez Bryant being the problem, and they fixed the issue because Dez is gone. They've got a bunch of different receivers. They're all interchangeable. Then in training camp, they talked about, having all these interchangeable pieces. And we even saw, in Oxnard, we saw some more creativity. And so it was like week 1, it was just all zapped away because we didn't really see much of it. And even the creativity was stupid. 2 tight ends, the 5 wide set, it's just stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Especially if your 2 tight ends aren't like and Evan Ingram or
And that's an issue, when you have a 5 receiver sets, you have 2 tight ends, you have Swayman and you don't have Rico, you have Swayman Jarwin out there who are not the fastest guys. I don't believe that Dak trusts himself still. He has some issues, obviously. We saw that.
I don't think they trust themselves to not get beat on a one-on-one situation.
But I think that even when you saw Blake Jarwin open deep and that whole play, I don't know if he would have hit it. Dak, I don't know if Blake Jarwin would have been able to be there, that one safety over the top. He might have caught up to that. I don't know. People could say about these plays, but then you look back, and again, Dak has them issues. He missed some wide open guys, but I do believe that, you're kind of cutting his arm off a little bit. You're almost making it harder for Dak when you're throwing in 2 slower, tight ends and taking out 2 faster receivers, and we didn't see Beasley and Tavon out there at the same time and all that stuff. And again, coaching, you talk about Zeke. Zeke got 15 runs, and it wasn't like we were down 21-0. We had a chance the whole game, even in the fourth. And still, we didn't utilize Zeke more than 15 times in the run and 3 times in the air. That's just garbage.
I know, but again, speaking on all those things, the thing that disappointed me the most was seeing some of our veteran guys just play kind of sloppy. I'm talking about Tank. I'm talking about Lyle. I'm talking about Sean Lee, guys that we really count on to play well. So, again, coming up into this, Giants game, Sean Lee is going to be a big part of that. Tank is going to be a big part of that. Those are some of the key matchups in that game. So, what do you think are some of the key matchups in this game or some of the key things that we need to see in order to beat the Giants,
a division
from the
rival.
way they looked this past week as well.
They didn't look great, but remember, they played Jacksonville.
But
they were
than us.
a play away from the Super Bowl. So again,
they looked better than us, though.
Yeah. So Ari, Giant game.
They lost 2015 to the Jags in week 1. So both teams coming in, in need of a win. In the history, in the recent history of the NFL, the modern format of the playoffs, you make the playoffs 8% of the time. So, it's not a must-win because I'm of the opinion that it's not a must-win until you literally must win. But an 8% chance to make the playoffs, you start 0-2 for both these teams. It's going to be a very important game to get, obviously, week 2. So, look, I think this is a completely different Giants team than we're used to. They swapped 4-3 they've been running defensively. Now they run the 3-4. Pat Shermer's their head coach. Mike Shula's their offensive coordinator. So they're going to have a completely different offensive style. They're really good in ways that Carolina wasn't necessarily good, and vice versa. They certainly have issues along their offensive line. There's no question about that. It was the major issue for them last year, and they've improved it a little bit, but I still don't know that it's drastically improved. But they've got Odell back on the outside. Evan Ingram's a major problem. I mean, he's 6'3", 225 pounds. He's a beast in the middle of the field. We know about Saquon Barkley, who's a beast. Sterling Shepard. So, I mean, they've just got, Carolina didn't really have much on the outside, and maybe one of the best things to happen for the Cowboys in week 1 was Greg Olsen leaving the game, because he could have been a major problem with the Cowboys starting basically 2 strong safeties at safety. So that's the matchup to watch for me is, how does Jeff Heath, how does Kayvon Frazier, how do they match up in the middle of the field in a situation where they're going to have to play against a guy like Evan Ingram, who's, a breakout star, I think, or even Rhett Ellison, who, they'll run some 2 tight end sets with those guys, and those guys are that to me is the biggest matchup to watch for. The linebackers, controlling Saquon Barkley, and then their safeties, how they play with those tight ends that they have, that can be a major problem for them.
Yeah, so I mean that is the Ingram situation I think is key as well. I'm gonna probably have to have Heath on him. It looks like I don't know if Jalen's gonna cover him, but I mean,
we do have a question in the chat for you, Ari. So Pappy45 says, do you think Jerry gets more involved if the offense looks mundane and predictable again?
Jerry Jones?
Yes, Jerry Jones. Do you see him kind of taking more of an active role with the team if things start going south?
How many games would you say it takes before Garrett loses his job, so to speak, as well? That was another question by, I think,
Jamal.
Jamal, yeah. So.
Well, Garrett's not going to lose his job this year in season. Go back to Wade Phillips, and that basically has to happen again for Garrett to lose his job in season. I do think, though, Scott Linehan could. You talk about 4 weeks. That's what I always say. Judge a season based on quarters. So if this team starts 0-4, 1-3, and their offense looks as bad as it looked in week 1, there's a pretty good chance I think Scott Linehan would lose his job. And it's interesting because, this is another sort of interesting thing. Jerry Jones made the comments at the start of training camp about Jason Garrett and his future, basically saying he was safe. But then, on Tuesday, when he did his normal interview with 105 Through the Fan, he basically talked about Norv Turner and how good the Carolina offense looked and how much they utilized their running quarterback, even though Norv Turner is 100 years old, is basically what Jerry said. And then earlier this week, is photographed with Dez at the Beyonce Jay-Z concert, which people might say, well, that maybe Dez is coming back. But to me, what that says is, Dez came and publicly criticized Jason Garrett, right? He's publicly criticized Garrett a lot since his release. So the fact that you've got Jerry Jones, photographed publicly with Dez, like there's some imagery there about the how safe Garrett is.
And remember,
take Garrett to the left.
And remember how. I'm sorry. I was going to say about that specific thing is that Jerry Jones knows what he's doing. Like he knows that picture is going to make the rounds. He knows what people are going to say. So he it's almost like a subliminal. Hey, Jason Garrett. Hey, wake up. I see what you're saying. I agree. I'm sorry to cut you off. You're talking about the playoffs.
No. I think will he fire Garrett in season? No, but if the Cowboys don't make the playoffs, Garrett's going to lose his job. If the Cowboys don't make the playoffs, Garrett's going to lose his job.
And there's a lot of Cowboy fans that kind of root for that. I as a Cowboy fan can never root for that. Never. I don't know. I know you're a fan. You have your teams and stuff. I don't know if you could. Have you ever felt that way to root against your team from week 2, like to try to bomb the season? I don't. I'd rather win a Super Bowl and get them for 6 more years than get our 6th Super Bowl.
But I think that the reality is it's a win-win. Then either you win and you make the playoffs and you're happy, or you don't and Garrett's fired. So
yeah, good point.
You can't root against your team in September.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Now,
it's insane.
All season for this thing.
No,
Exactly.
As far as Garrett getting fired, though, because isn't there still 1 year left in his contract? Could you see the Cowboys just maybe kind of just not renewing it after that, kind of letting him retire peacefully.
You mean letting him stay
his
one more
tenure.
year?
Yeah, exactly. Kind of, and it just saying, because the way you said it too, there's an easy scapegoat here, and that's Linehan. So they could technically just let Garrett, like I said, ride out to the pasture, and say no, Linehan's the problem, get rid of him
Give him
this
one more
year,
year,
and give Garrett, one more year. Not as we think you can do it, but more of a, we'll let you finish out your contract.
And then Richard takes over. What do you think about that whole concept there?
No way. They're all scapegoated out in the Jason Garrett era.
Ooh.
They're all scapegoated out.
Really?
No, the contract of a head coach in the NFL, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's he'll pay it out. It's pennies in the dollar relative to what Jerry Jones makes. It's of no consequence. So I think every year when the Cowboys haven't made the playoffs with Jason Garrett, there's been a ton of excuses for why they haven't, and I think they're sort of out of excuses with this team this season. And I just point to Jerry's behavior, kind of calling out the offense on the radio, going with Dez, not to talk to Dez about coming back to the Cowboys, but instead to sort of put that imagery out there. Jason's not going to be the fan base is completely turned against Jason Garrett. I mean, I saw a poll; it was like 93% of Cowboys fans want him gone. There's just no way they bring him back if they don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, no, we feel that for sure. Somebody's saying here, Garrett at practice today, and again, I don't know how you saw this team practicing this week compared to last week. Some people are saying that they looked a lot worse this week so far than last week, but they're saying that Garrett stopped practice today after some sloppy penalties. I don't know if you're seeing it here, and he said, "Are you effing kidding me?" and that kind of stuff. I mean, are you getting that sense?
Is there any truth to that? As far as what the feeling is in the Star this week?
Yeah, and the Star behind the scenes and locker, that kind of stuff. What you're feeling from the team.
Well, sure. I mean, when you look at coaches, they all have there's certain boxes they all check off, and smarts and ability to evolve and motivation, and I mean, very few coaches, if any, in sports check off all the boxes. For Garrett, I mean, he's a great motivator. That's definitely a box that Garrett checks off. Not really sure there are many more boxes he checks off beyond motivation, but that's certainly one of them. Yeah, I mean, he's a fiery guy. I mean, he is not just the clappy sort of lackey that he's been made out to be, despite the fact that he sort of looks like that on game day. But I mean, he's a good motivational coach, and I certainly understand why he'd be frustrated over the sloppy players in week one. But I mean, the reality is, he installs a game plan. He can evolve within the course of a game. We can't evolve game to game. I mean, these are fatal flaws for a head coach, and this is, I mean, it's 9 years now we've seen this. It's not like it's going to change. Those are the things that remain for Garrett as a head coach. So we can sort of look at the tertiary things, or focus on the important things, and that's hard to. You can win a lot of games, not being able to evolve over the course of games. You're not going to win the playoffs, and I think Garrett's record reflects that.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, we're gonna let you go here. I know you gotta get going, but
thank you so much for your time. But I do want to end things on a kind of a more positive note, because again, it's obviously rough with the loss. I guess what's something that all of us as Cowboy fans, what can we look forward to from this team? Something positive,
running
something
Zeke, good defense, great defense.
And of course, let us know where we can find you at, all your information, man.
One more time for the whole crew. We got like 40 people in here.
Awesome. Yeah, no, at RE Sports on Twitter, ARI Sports. You can stream me every day on Facebook at facebook.com/Watch Phantom. So check that out. And then my podcast also comes out tomorrow too, the Cowboys Beat. So make sure to subscribe to that. Just search Cowboys Beat wherever you listen to podcasts. What to look for? I mean, it's not going to be as bad as it was week one, guys. I mean, that's, it's a week-to-week league. In the NFL, when you win, you feel like you'll never lose, and when you lose, you feel like you'll never win. And so, I just don't think that the Cowboys will look as bad offensively in week two as they did week one. And if they do, then they're that much closer to firing Scott Linehan, and they're that much closer to having this be Jason Garrett's last season. So, I just think the Cowboys will be able to attack the Giants' defense in different ways. Giants have some. And Damon Snacks Harrison up front on the defense, and Landon Collins, but I mean, they're beatable in other areas. Norris Jenkins. So, I think the Cowboys will be able to have some success in the passing game. The big question is, will Dak take chances down the field? That's one thing I don't know that you should be excited for because we just haven't seen it much from Dak. But I think the offense will look much better week 2. I think the defense has looked really, really good. So we'll see against the shoddy offensive line of the Giants if they can get after Eli, and if they do, they'll be in a good position to win this football game.
Yeah, I mean that I think. I mean, I agree with the keys and the offensive side of things, but I think the key again is going to remain with getting into that pocket, whether disrupting the running game, but mainly disrupting Eli, getting to him, making him throw quick passes, incompletions, and interceptions. I think he could be rattled with that, like you said, shoddy offensive line, and I think we can get control of that game and not play so badly as we did on offense last week. We have a good shot to win this game, but like you said, both teams are desperate. NFC East battle.
Yeah.
2 division rivals.
But I think a very easy and simple way for our defense to improve is just let's make 50% of those tackles we missed last week. Just that right there, because everything else, I mean, honestly, we kept Cam pretty contained.
Yeah,
we 3 or 4.
There were 3 or 4 plays, unfortunately, where Cam can run, Eli can't. So the 3 or 4 plays that Cam that Sean Lee missed tackle. Yeah, but Sean Lee missed the tackle, and Jalen went through the wrong gap, and so there was 3 or 4 plays that cost us big chunks of yards with Cam. That's never going to happen with Eli. So I think we can put pressure on him. He might try to sling that ball out quickly. We're going to have that cover 3 press man, and I think that's going to be a lot of trouble for Eli in a 2-second span, 2.5-second span to throw that ball. We'll see what happens, man. But hey, Ari Temkin. We're going to break down some more stuff, go through some news here, but we appreciate you being here with us, man. Much love to you. We watch your show all the time. Guys, subscribe up to him, Phantom.
Yes, go check it out, guys. Real deal right here,
yes,
guys.
Man. And we'll love to have you back, man. Just check in with you whenever you're able to. We just, I love people that give it to you, raw, and, with your, even though it might, be an opinion here or a thought, a process, you keep it real. You keep it to what you truly believe, and that's what we respect and we love here on this channel. So thank you, Ari, and we're looking forward to all your reports, man.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys, and I really love what you guys are doing, my Cowboys family, my Cowboys fiance, so keep up the great work, and absolutely, let's, keep in touch, and hopefully I can come on another stream again.
Yes, sir, for sure, brother. Thank you again, man. And
absolutely, my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, sir. We'll see you soon.
Take care.
Yes.
Later,
man. Woo, that was
guys,
awesome, man. I
had
a lot of fun with him tonight.
Yes, guys.
I hope you guys enjoyed the 20-minute, discussion with someone who's really in the mix. He's in the mix, guys. He's in there with the Cowboys. He's on the field watching the practices, interviewing players.
For those of you guys who joined us a little later, make sure once the stream is over, watch the beginning part again. Again,
awesome.
If you missed it, Ari Temkin, he does the pre and post game Cowboys info on 105.3 The Fan, guys.
Yes,
so go check it out. He has his own Phantom. Again, we're going to provide all the links. They'll be in the description once the video's over. But we're going to keep rolling here. Now, Ari in the chat said, 5-star, I think Dak needs to show he can consistently complete passes down the field. So, and like a few of you guys did say, worst case scenario, if for some reason we're at the end of the season and Dak shows that he just doesn't have what it takes, I think he has enough of what it takes to be a backup quarterback in the meantime while the Cowboys figure it out. But obviously that does mean...
What happens in the meantime?
What happens in the meantime. And honestly, guys, those are meantime rebuilding things. A few of you guys have said we feel like we're in a weird rebuilding year this year. Definitely rebuilding our wide receiver core. Our tight end situation is being rebuilt. Our offensive line is now a question mark.
Rebuilding is a question in itself when it comes to the receivers, because these are the receivers that not Dak asked for, but Scott Linehan asked for. This is Scott Linehan friendly team, not Dak friendly.
The team, I feel like, is kind of like, since you pointed out, stuck in a weird limbo where part of the team is built, like you said, behind Linehan's, offensive mastermind scheme, and some of those pieces don't quite fit exactly there. And I guess he's trying to figure out how to use those pieces the way that he wants.
And I understand the using
for example, Dak.
I understand coming out there, guys, with no running backs. Okay, and a personnel where you got it would be a two personnel. There'd be 0 running backs and 2 tight ends with 3 receivers. A split, spread formation there on offense. When the Cowboys do that, and 2 of those 5 receivers are tight ends, and they're not Gronkowski or Evan Ingram or any athletic type of tight end or a dominating tight end. They're just Jeff Swaim and Blake Jarwin. You get me? These are not gonna scare anybody. All right, these guys. And I think defenses, you might get them sleeping here and there. That play to Jarwin, maybe in a perfect situation, could have been completed. And Dak should have definitely hit him one way or the other, or at least run the damn ball. But he's wide open. He's got to hit him.
Exactly. The bigger problem is the fact that when the defense slips, when the defense messes up and makes those mistakes, our offense doesn't capitalize on them.
Dak cannot afford to make those mistakes when the defense makes those mistakes. And a team like Carolina, who's not, they don't have the greatest defense, but they have a good defense, especially in the front seven. And they have a rookie cornerback. We never really attacked it. Like Ari said, we never went deep enough. Going deep is going to open up a lot of things. Even if it's not completed, just don't throw the pick. But you go deep, you're going to push that safety or corner a step back. He's going to take a step back next time. He's going to think about it next time. Maybe you might go deep this way. I see Tavon on my side. He's small, he's quick, but he might go deep. And that's what you want him thinking. Then you got a chance to run Zeke. You got a chance to do a RPO and run Dak, or find what works. I don't mind dink and dunk, as long as it gets us down the field. And in my opinion, when Dak took over that one drive, and I want to say it again, that he took over that one drive, it was a quick huddle, no huddle, what do we want to call it? We scored a touchdown and 2-point conversion. After that, even though we were still kind of quick huddling it, we were kind of desperate by the end. In between that, Scott Linehan took the control back, it seemed. Mm-hmm. And Dak was once again restricted to what he can do, when he should throw, when he should run.
Yeah, and
what kind of throws he needs to throw, even if it's not completed.
And here's the extra thing, too. We've talked about it already this week, but for those of you guys who didn't know, Linehan's going to be moving up into the box. So he's going to be able to see. So, again,
he's looking down on the field.
It's a pro and con because, again, he said there's more of a personal relationship. It's more of a personal one-on-one. It just something about football. You need to be there for it. I get that. But he's saying you lose a little bit of that, but he can see things a lot better. And maybe Linehan just needs that in order for him to be able to figure out what he needs to do. And honestly, at this point, I don't care if he needs to stand upside down on the roof of at&t Stadium. Just make it happen.
Well, see, the thing is, I think that
see whatever you have.
I just think that it's up to Linehan. Linehan's the true quarterback coach in this situation.
Because Garrett's made it clear that he, we've heard on interviews all week, this Garrett said he's not overriding Linehan.
Right.
He's not going to overstep.
But it's not even about that. I'm talking about actual quarterback coach, and it's not Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore is the quarterback coach, but he's the guy. Listen, we're going to talk about him as well. He's the in-between guy. All right, he's the guy that he's like the note passer. All right, Linehan gives him the message, and Kellen gives the message to Dak. That's the way it works in Dallas. It's not Linehan to Dak, although it happens, and it could happen. It doesn't usually happen that way. Linehan goes to Moore goes to Dak, and then that's how the play is done. Now, we're going to talk about that tonight. But again, you got to remember that when you do that, you're almost saying, first of all, it's coming from Kellen Moore. Who the hell is he as a other than that he was there before Dak was there, and it was in front of Dak when Dak first got. So he has to respect him just based on seniority almost, and as a coach. And then you got Scott Linehan, who is his only coach that he's known as the offensive coordinator. And Linehan said throughout the whole offseason that he is going to be the true quarterback coach. Moore is going to be kind of have a different role, but the true quarterback coach and offensive coordinator is Scott Linehan. Don't get fooled. That's the guy who's running things with Dak, and that's the guy who's running things on this offense. Not Dak as much. Now, when Dak took over control, and this is my issue again, when we saw a glimpse of what Dak can do when he's in control. And when he had control and was limited, very, very, very limited, he wasn't as limited by Scott Linehan, and he was kind of given like a skeletal kind of a game plan, I guess you could say, on that drive. Remember, as Ari said, Jason Garrett, same kind of game plan. They don't make adjustments. It's not 8 games. It's 8 years of not making adjustments, of making adjustments this big and having just one plan and maybe a couple different changes after that. You have to have different kind of chunks of your game plan here. You got to come with something that's going to surprise the other team. You just can't make it so predictable. So when you do that to Zeke, you do that to the offensive line, you do it to the receivers, you do it to Dak, yes, it's still up to them executing, but you're making it that much harder for them. And that's my issue with the offensive coaching. That's my issue with the foundation of our offensive coaches. And that's the biggest issue with this team, even over Dak's horrible game, and he needs to improve tremendously. And he looks like the only culprit on the field, but it's more than that. Some of the offensive line communication. It's some of the routes that the defenses sat on because it was too predictable. And that's not Dak's fault. That's Scott Linehan. They ran Zeke 15 times. They had, Tavon Austin going to get the ball 12 times to 24 times in his hand. He was out there 10 times, and he got the ball once in his hand. And we had 82 times tight ends were out there. And, I mean, they're not speed burners. They're not special receiving tight ends. So, yeah, it's great they're out there 82 times. They're blocking and then running patterns that Dak will never trust them in. So whatever needs to be worked on, it's on the execution. But the coaches have to jump in and then help their players. They don't do this. There's a history to this, guys. Yes, Chaz Green. They never helped Chaz Green. They let Dak suffer the Chaz Green getting thrown to the wolves. And Linehan ran out the stadium and let Dak get thrown to the wolves to the media. So this is what they do. This is the Linehan style. And Garrett doesn't have the cojones to go over there and say, come on, face the media or change this or let me step in and change that. He don't do that. So this is 8 years of this shit. That's my issue with the coaches. And even though I'm upset with Dak, I'm upset the way he played, and I'm not letting him off the hook. Although it might sound like that.
Now, question for
it's
you
about
real
the
quick.
coaches.
Was Linehan in the
foundation
box this week?
No,
no
he was
right?
on the field.
No, just was making sure because there was the way that it was phrased, and I know I was confused too. I saw a few people asking in the chat, was he in the box this week? So he wasn't. It's a new change that's going to be starting this
week.
Because
he's in the
when
box.
I heard the news and the way that the quote sounded, he almost did make it sound like he was there. You know,
like in the box already? No.
Yeah,
he was out in the sideline, and the thing is that he's going to. I think he wants to get away from like the talk of the players, and I think he needs to see from the up above the. Maybe he'll see Dak doing what he can do when he's on his own, and maybe he'll say, you know what, I'm going to trust Dak a little more, and then Dak can trust his teammates a little more. I think that's all hand in hand. I truly do. I think that the lack of trust with Scott Linehan with Dak. And the lack of trust that Dak has with the coaching staff to correct and adjust any errors does affect Dak's gameplay. Still, he needs to rise above that as a professional quarterback in the NFL and of the Dallas Cowboys, America's team. He's got to rise above that. So that's on Dak. But the other side's on the coaching staff, and that's Garrett for not stepping up and helping out, making the right decisions that need to be made, whether it was Chaz Green or whatever other things that didn't happen in this Carolina game. But they were talking about it the whole godforsaken offseason and training camp. They didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. They did the same old vanilla Linehan offense that everybody knows, and they figured out Linehan. They didn't figure out Dak because Dak drove on them. They didn't figure out Linehan.
Yeah, so he was in the box this Sunday. They asked him why he was there, then he answered why. So that is almost a little more concerning. But again, I want to focus on your comments here in the chat, guys.
And then we're going to go with the news, guys. We're 30 minutes in. We had Ari Temkin. He's a great guy. Guys, check him every day. He's there watching, Cowboys practices. He has interviews coming out tomorrow. Who is he going to interview now? Joe Looney, I think, was the guy he's interviewing. And last week he interviewed Michael Gallup. That was a great interview there.
Who I thought had a funny little quote towards the end where he's like, oh, football's football. It's not, it's NFL, college, whatever. It's all the same.
Guys,
and I agree with you, Cowboys Abroad. NFL is a little different than college ball.
I will say, guys, check out RA's pages. We'll post on the descriptions and the links below if you're watching this in the replay. If you missed it earlier, if Ari's still in the chat, drop your link, Ari, if you can. If you can't, We'll find out.
We'll have to do it afterwards.
Okay. All right, we'll do it for you. But yeah, Ari's got. I mean, he's all over the place. So he goes through Law Nation sometimes. So Ari's all around all the time. He's here with the online digital media crew because that's where he's going with this, guys. And he's right there with the Cowboys on the practice field. He's not like me over here or fiance over here in Florida. All right, he's actually sitting there getting the pulse of the team, the vibe of the team. And we only speak for some of the fans.
I know, and I think part of it, if I see a few guys saying. It's only week one. Why are fans freaking out? And part of the problem is because we're seeing a lot of the same problems that we just saw in this 9-7, really 8-8 season. So that's the biggest reason for that. So guys, make sure to hit the like button, sub it up if you're new, hit that notification bell so you don't miss when we're live. We're here every single day, giving you guys the updates, news, and of course our opinions on the Dallas Cowboys.
We have a lot of them.
And big shout out to Young Wilson. The weekly donation winner, man. Thank you so much.
Rocking
you had a really good...
Don't forget also Yumi, Mrs. Cowboys Abroad. Much love to Cowboys Abroad and Yumi. Running the stream boss with 72 Ed 2 Tall Jones points. And DJ Crown J is the donation leaderboard right now. Leader with Scorpio, 76688 at second place. And right behind him, Stone Cold in the house. We got a couple other guys. Young Wilson's on there, too. He's fourth place.
Yeah, guitar slinging zombie killers. Dak in a box. It's my Dak in a box. Real quick, Young Wilson actually had a really good question that we never really talked on too much. NCF, do you think our offensive line coach not making adjustments for Frederick being out? It seems as though the coach isn't making any moves to help our offense score and run the ball. So if we're going to talk about coaches, talk about a coach not, failing to adjust for... something that's obviously really hard to adjust for, but, here's one of those weird things. I know our offensive line did badly, but when you look at it in more of like an individual way, it's not like they got beat every single time. You know what I mean? You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Just individually, some guys definitely, it wasn't I don't know what to say. It was bad, but it wasn't as bad as some of you guys think. Like, Looney was not necessarily the problem here.
Well, see, my issue is when it comes to his blocking, he did great. He didn't allow one pressure, one sack, Looney. But when it came to helping out Connor Williams, that's what you don't get from Looney. When you get that from Travis Frederick. Now, you ask, how do you fix that? You can't fix it. You can't. You cannot replace Travis Frederick. You're not doing it. Unless you give away like a first rounder and this and that. Just get out of here. We gotta roll with Looney probably the entire year, and that's the way it's got to be. Now, will he get better as the year goes on? I predict he will. Will he be able to help out Connor Williams as the year goes on? I predict he will. He'll improve on that as well. I believe that Connor Williams will improve as well, but I don't think Connor Williams is going to make the bigger jump until next year when it comes to really improving, because a whole year under the training system and the weightlifting system and just the whole thing that goes on in the NFL, after a year, you're going to see the poundage added on to Connor Williams and the strength building on him. So I reserve judgment on him till next year. He's still a rookie, thrown in there with a backup on his right and a slowed down, and a guy who looks a little off right now, number 77 to his left, who's going to be, if he had Travis Frederick and 100%, mentally and physically ready Tyron Smith, I mean, I think Connor Williams, you wouldn't even see him making mistakes that often because he'd have help bouncing off on both sides. But Looney's not going to be able to help as much. And that's the biggest thing you lose in Looney. But I think the other thing you lose in Looney is, compared to Frederick, we know there's a lot you lose. It's a big downgrade. But Frederick is the communicator. He communicates with Dak. He reads the defense. He reads the defensive line, and he talks to his offensive linemen. And they trust and listen to him. Looney was shy, and he only had a week to prepare. And now he's in it, and he got 1 weekend, and then, in preseason, and then he kind of, when he knew he was going to take over, and then he had this first week against the Carolina Panthers, and he did good blocking-wise, but he didn't do good making the correct reads to his fellow offensive linemen, which hurt in the running game. It hurt Zeke able to get some bigger bursts. He could have easily had over 100 yards this game, easily. We didn't run him enough. That's problem one on the coaches. But on top of that, some of the blocking broke down. Also for Dak, and yes, he had the ball for 3.1 seconds. We know a lot of that was misreads. A lot of that was the routes not opening up. Everyone's like, look at these 4 or 5 plays that Dak messed up on, and they throw another 10 or 12 in that really weren't messed up by Dak. It was bad. It was bad blocking. It was bad schematics. It was bad, play call route running, not by Sanjay Lal. This is all, and not by Jason Garrett. He just don't change it. It's by Scott Linehan. Doing the jet sweep. Who called that? We know who called that. It wasn't Garrett, and it wasn't Dak. It was Scott Linehan. So when you think about that, you're not helping Dak get better when you are, doing the predictable things that hurt not just Dak, but hurts the entire team, Zeke, everybody. And you're making it so predictable. The defense can just run rough shot over us and not let us get past the 50-yard line. And that's not only because of Dak. It's a combination thing. But Dak is the problem. He was like the major execution issue, I guess you'd say, on offense last week. But the major foundational issue is not Dak. It's not the Sean Lee misses in the tackles. Those things will be fixed. The foundational issue is coaching, especially on the offensive side and head coaching side. And I'm going to stay with that until they show me different. They show me 8 years of the same.
We've beat this dead horse long enough, guys. I want to shift to some of the things we've been talking about here in the chat, which I know you kind of missed out there for a second, baby. So first, I want to touch on Cowboys Abroad. Sorry. So he said, if you put Linehan in the box now, so when he's stripped of his play calling duty, the fans can't tell. So that's interesting. And Cowboys Abroad also said, what's the job of the quarterback coach? What's the job description? Incognito said, I suspect when working for Linehan, it consists of carrying a clipboard and doing whatever Linehan says. I
was just about to say that. That's exactly what he's probably doing.
But here, I just responded that I honestly have I really truly have no clue what exactly it is that he does as the quarterback coach. Because, for example, I know we have our every coach kind of has some slight different responsibilities. For example, Chris Richard is also our pass game defensive coordinator, as well as what his actual duties are. So he kind of has that too. Like, what does Kellen Moore as a quarterback? Here's what's going on. Someone said that they thought Bob Sturm said that it was really interesting today that Dak said that he talks to Kellen Moore and quarterback coach. That he talks to Kellen Moore and quarterback coach. Kellen Moore talks to Linehan. That's what Dak said. So Dak said that he talks to Kellen Moore talks to Linehan. Okay. Linehan doesn't talk directly to the quarterback during the game, which is weird. Wouldn't you say? Sounds a little like bougie, like you're not even good enough to talk to me.
And then here's another thing. You think about the delay of game penalties that you want to blame Dak on? Well, keep this in mind.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, if there's an extra person in there, if you got to tell, Fulano, hey, go tell head coach this, blah, blah, blah.
So, I mean, and
every second matters.
If Kellen Moore is functioning as a mediator, as a note passer, all right, in class, in between drives, is he also delivering the play calls? Like, is he telling Dak, here's the play, or is he telling him, here's the play that Linehan is calling? I believe it's the play Linehan is calling is going into Moore's hands, and he's giving it to Dak, and so to speak.
Yeah.
So that extra step could have definitely contributed to some of those snaps where Dak was going like this with Looney. Some of those snaps that we've got, I think we had 2 delayed games. So I'm just saying that is definitely an issue that is, again, coaching related. You want to throw it on a Dak, you can. That's the easy and that's the lazy way out.
Yeah.
And some of it is true. I'm not denying that. But you can't take the lazy way out and not blame the coaches, because a lot of little intricacies on offense especially, that is why we keep seeing these mistakes.
There's plenty of blame to share. Don't worry.
Mental
baby.
errors.
Lots of blame to go around.
Listen, mental
error.
error.
Make those tackles.
Exactly. That's player execution.
Stop playing sloppy.
That's player execution. But what's not player execution is when you don't have your guys coached up right, whether it's Chaz Green last year, or if you don't have that much confidence in Dak throwing deep, then you have bad coaches. Because they're not adapting, they're not adjusting. That's the biggest downfall of Gary. Like you said, we beat this horse dead to the ground.
Yeah, so
but I wanted to say something though related to the Kellen Moore.
I know. It was a really relevant to the Scott Linehan thing. I keep trying to get to it. You won't let me.
Because it's about. Go ahead.
Because I asked.
I just can't get diverted from this. But go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
I don't want to divert you. Go ahead.
Well, this is about Kellen Moore and Linehan, and I wasn't really finished with that whole thing because here. When they say basically that Dak says that he actually does talk to Linehan sometimes, when necessary, but primarily to Moore is what he said specifically. But the thing is this, when you listen to what Dak said and about what he really said, basically, it's more is implied that he could talk to Linehan if the channel is open for discussion. When it comes to Linehan and Dak, it's not that he doesn't want to. The channel is open for discussion. All right. But that he chose not to because he's using someone. I'm assuming he's more like trusting, and that is Kellen Moore. Now I don't know.
They probably have more of a bond.
Well, they start, the way they started off in his career, and Kellen Moore, was in front of him. He kind of had to be guided by Romo and Kellen Moore and Sanchez. So a lot of these guys helped him. But again, whatever it is, not working. So what were you saying about Dak and Linehan and to me it was
Linehan's calling plays now from the box. How many other offensive coordinators call plays from the box, and how many of those were actually successful at it? Like, does it actually help? Does it make a difference?
I think that depends on the coach.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. It just
if you're seeing it from a top, you'll see maybe what the defense is doing on a more of a routine, and then maybe you can figure things out because from the sideline you really can't see the depth of where the defensive the players are at, and maybe you can't really pick them apart the way you really want to, what their tendencies might be. From the box, you could probably see that more, but then you have less communication with the players, the less one-on-one interaction and kind of, physical, hey, kid over here, this is what you need to do. But I don't see Linehan doing that anyways on the sideline. So, and again, if he was in the box, if he was in the coach's box last week, for this Carolina game, then I don't know what's going to help. It just sounds like they keep trying to kick this can down the road. They keep they blame the offensive line coach and they blame Dez and last year, and they blame this guy and they blame that guy, and they keep kicking this can, and they're but eventually there's nobody left to blame but Jason Garrett and Scott Linehan. Eventually that's the guys you're going to have left in this group. Because every year we're blaming something else. And guys, and don't fool yourselves, every year we had a bad defense in those first years with Garrett. Okay. Then we had, a great offensive line, but then we had Romo. But Romo was hurt, or Romo was behind the chains too much. It's always something. I believe discipline is part of the issue with this team, and that's not only the player execution, but that's also the coaches. I don't know what they're doing out there, but what I was taught to not go a false start or offsides, or to not hold. When we got called for penalties in our practices, when I played football, pee-wee, whatever, as low as Pop Warner and middle school, high school, you get called for a holding call in practice. You get called for a false start, offsides. You run laps. You don't say, all right, try it again. I don't know what they do, but it's whatever they're doing is not working because the teams I've been associated with, the people that I know of that have been in these organizations, and when I was in UCF, I know some people like Dante Culpepper who were involved in these organizations that were, almost that, again, at the time, it was a growing UCF organization, University of Central Florida, but still, it was, they still had a system similar to something you have to kind of, same thing I even had almost when I was a kid. So what I'm trying to say is, they're not using, I believe the coach is not using the strengths of Dak Prescott. I believe the coaches are going away from a lot of the things that might work and I say might work a little better. I truly think that if they let Dak kind of just, not all the time, but kind of go out there and kind of wing it, and I don't mean go out there and just throwing the ball, winging it. I'm telling you, he reads the defense on that quick huddle touchdown drive that gave us 8 points. That was all Dak. Dak created that. Yeah, he missed the guy in the end zone and still got a touchdown in the end of the drive. And in fact, that play, if you had thrown in the end zone, if it was off by a little bit, or if Swaim slowed down, or just not a good receiver that Dak maybe didn't trust to throw it to him in that corner, and he ran for the first down instead and got the first. So solidified that first, which led to a touchdown. That's smart Dak play. I know you said you want him to throw it and force him that. He's not Aaron Rodgers. I'd rather he take the first than risk the corner throw, which, should be okay, but if he's off a little bit, which he might be, then it's away. Now you got to kick a field goal. Or if Jarwin or Swaim drops it, which could happen, you got to kick a field goal. Or if the safety runs over in time and knocks it down, I'm saying, run for the first down, you got it. Now you can start over. You got 4. That's what I like to see from Dak. I'm not saying you do it all the time, but I say you got to utilize him to be smart. And as you start dinking and dunking and running little things down the field and keep collecting first downs, teams are going to start inching up. Then you send someone deep. Then you send Tavon deep. Then you send Deontay Thompson deep. Then you send someone deep, and then you scare the crap out of them. And then now they don't know what to do. And then you run Zeke. Then you run that. It's just not creative enough out there, guys. It's not creative enough with Linehan, and it's been like this for our now 5th year. And it's been like this an average team mentality with Jason Garrett for 8 years now.
So I want to catch up with the chat really, really quick. Let me see. Raptor Charge said, if we lose Sunday and our offense doesn't show up, I think a coach is getting fired. They'll probably sacrifice Kellen Moore. So honestly, Raptor,
I think Linehan goes. Moore goes, but I don't think Moore goes without Linehan.
Well, I thought it was interesting one point that Ari made in the sense of when I asked him specifically about, would Garrett outlast Linehan, and he's kind of saying no. Right now they're kind of a package deal, and a lot of that
I'm
does
surprised.
have to do. No, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Garrett bet his horse.
Right, you're right. He said he was riding with Linehan on this.
He's riding with Linehan. And again, behind the scenes, we don't know what kind of connection or again, Garrett probably really truly thought that, Linehan was that guy and could be that guy. So,
Bishop Kane says Dink and Dunk was before Dak. That's true. And it's
worked. Said, hey, everyone, I hate Dak because of all the excuses you fans make. Got it. There's a little bit more leeway with quarterbacks because their success specifically, look, you can usually tell when a quarterback sucks. The thing is, Dak has shown that he doesn't suck. He can be good.
But he's shown that he's also inaccurate sometimes. He's also shown that he's not consistent enough.
We're not saying he hasn't shown, he's not perfect.
He's got to show more.
He has to show more.
But he hasn't shown. He's shown something.
He's shown something, exactly. So but
Let's
outside of that, I personally feel like quarterbacks get a little bit more leeway, a little bit. Not when I say leeway, I think it's a little more. Because, it's easy to say, quarterback sucks or he has a bad game or whatever. But there's a lot of factors. If you have a bad line,
I know.
That quarterback.
Or bad play calling.
Bad play calling. If you have receivers that don't catch the ball.
When Romo saw a bad play call by Linehan, he would say, kill. That meant he changed the play. So, again, look, I'm not going to get into this again. This is the 3rd time. We're trying to get over this. We're going to the Giants now. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to guarantee you guys, I'm hoping. I'm not going to guarantee a damn thing because I can't trust this coaching staff. They can say whatever they want. I don't trust them about injuries. I don't trust them about what they're going to do. Every year they're going to throw the ball to Zeke out the backfield last year. Never happened. They were going to use Switzer at the backfield. Not once did that happen. They were going to, they did the jet sweep to Switzer 3 times. Didn't work for what? We got like 4 yards and 5 jet sweeps last year. Same guy, same play, same boring vanilla offense. And everybody knows and everybody's figured out Linehan, not Dak. It's not an excuse. Dak, if he plays that way and it's a consistent situation. It's already starting to become consistent. People are watching. Trust me, he's under that microscope. So he's got to improve. But the coaches have to. The coaches are there to help you, not to hurt you. They don't go there and say, okay, Dak, so you're best when you're out of the pocket, and you're creating and you're using your legs to kind of create space with your receivers, and you're drawing linebackers up and covering. And so this is what they seem to be doing. They say Linehan saying to Dak, stay in the pocket, do not leave that pocket. I want you to be a pocket passer, and that is the problem. They're stopping Dak from being natural, from being himself. If you let Dak be natural, you'll see the touchdown drive with an 8-point play, an 8-point drive like you saw this past weekend in Carolina. That one drive where Dak was allowed to just take over, do it his way, and he dominated. And that's why I still trust Dak.
And here's the thing, guys. Quarterbacks like Dak, usually teams and organizations help build teams around guys like this that actually helps benefit them, and plays that benefit them as well. So it kind of goes hand in hand. And I think we've done some player adjustments, definitely not enough for what Dak is right now, or what Dak, just saying, because or at least we made the adjustments. So we have.
I said this yesterday.
But anyway, let's move on to the.
Yeah, I said this. I'm gonna say this. I said this yesterday. It's two things. Either the coaches are using him horribly, all right. Which I believe it's more of the. I'm leaning towards that more. I mean, some of it's still on Dak, but the coaches still have a big hand to play. Or the coaches are so bad that they don't realize he cannot throw past 12 yards, as a lot of you guys out there are saying he can't do, and yet the coaches are still pushing it. So what does that tell you? I mean, we should get Dak out of there immediately, according to some of you guys. And if that's the case, then if that's the case and the coaches are sticking with them, then you got to even be harder on your coaches. Because they're keeping a guy you say you have no faith in, and they have faith in him. Garrett is allowing it. Linehan's allowing it. So if you truly believe Dak's not that guy, then you got to say Garrett and these other guys got to go too, because they're allowing this guy who sucks in the game to start, to throw, and to do these vanilla, very, very obvious game planning, get very obvious plays. So according to Eastside Harold, who did the $2 Maher, right there. Look at that. Right there. Look at that. Perfect timing. He said Dak is a 4th-round bust. I'm going to say this. There's no such thing as a 4th-round bust. Now when you're supposed to be a starting quarterback, it's a 4th round. At the worst, it's going to be a 4th-round fizzle out, or something like that. That's the worst. He's not really going to be a bust. You can't be a bust in the 4th round when they didn't expect much from him.
Yeah, tell you, if anything, he's exceeded expectations
right.
already.
But he might be a bust as, as a future.
RG3 style, obviously minus the injuries and everything else, but more how he had this big splashy, sensational start and then went downhill. So hopefully Dak, and that's Broken Nerd said it. Broken Nerd said it. Usually quarterbacks get better while they're in the league, and I responded, Dak has gotten worse. So it's definitely a concern. We're not going to sugarcoat it.
That's a regression.
But let's jump to the news, guys. If you are watching, hit like, sub it up, notification bell, all that good
hit
stuff.
That up. That's in the middle of it. So fiance's, I'm going to fix the leaderboard.
In Dak's 6 highest rated games as far as passing rating, Zeke rushed for 100 yards in only one of those.
So it's not the running game every time. Now, out of 10 games, you probably got a whole bunch with Zeke. You probably got half of them. Probably out of 10 games, you probably got 5.
No, but
that Zeke ran for 100.
I'd be curious to see how it breaks down as far as number of carries. And again, it's more about the strategy of when and how to use Zeke.
And also what's going on in the game. Maybe the game was a blowout and we didn't need to use Zeke. That's kind of telling.
We rested him for a while.
But at the same time, you also got to think about it. We won that last game against Philly. But was that really he didn't get over 100 yards.
And most of these games for Dak came in 2016. And I'm trying to think again, I know
that stat can be looked at, and you can pick and choose that stat. I just wanted to bring it up because, the last, 6 best games for 6 best 100-yard games for 6 best games for Dak. Zeke only had 100 yards once. So Dak has skills. They can use him properly. But is it just that they figured him out now, or what I'm saying? We'll see. What I'm saying is this: we need both.
Yeah, and as far as
especially
Taco,
Zeke.
and as far as Taco, Bishop Kane said if Dak is a bust, what is Taco? Taco is
he's a slow-moving first-round pick, kind of like what looks like LVE, but at least he's a little bit quicker pace, it seems, because he was ready getting some game time in there. He got some important snaps.
Yeah. So now, what about some games that he was 3 times better in? So
Zeke, you mean?
Or let me see.
I think he's referring to Zeke.
Dak.
Oh,
is it Dak or Zeke?
Well,
I'm not sure.
Okay, well,
I think it's
the
talking
fact
about
that Dak is playing his best games when, without Zeke getting 100 yards most of the time. The point that you're saying there about what was this here about the 3 times? Yeah. What was his number? 3 times
and
great.
Scorpio 768
Wow.
7668
right
the
there.
$20 drop. What's
What's
up, MCF? Thank you so much, Scorpio.
Thank you, Scorpio. Much
What
love.
is
Right
up
on the
with you?
star, right here. You're in first place on the leaderboard, brother. Pretty sure you
Hopefully
are.
the Cowboys
Yes.
can be first place in the freaking division.
I know.
Let's get this.
Yeah, we
together,
gotta get at least.
guys.
We need at least 2 more weeks before we get close to that.
I know.
Thank you, Scorpio.
It's unfortunate.
I'm fixing the leaderboard right now.
Yes, thank you so much, Scorpio. And again, guys, to all you guys, thank you so much for all your support. We're down to Sean Lee.
Yeah.
So who's 51?
51 is well, 51 used to be Kyle Wilbur.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm like, it's not Wilbur anymore.
Yeah, anymore.
But now, let me see. Did we do? I don't think. Oh yeah. So the Cowboys didn't use their deacon formation once. I think against Carolina.
We that's true, guys. That's true. A deacon formation is 3 down linemen. It's almost like a 3-4, and you have 4 linebackers. So you have 3 down linemen, a nose guard or 1 tech guy. Let's say Malik Collins or Antoine Woods, and then you have 2 ends. Let's say Taco and Tank. That's your 3 down. You have 4 linebackers. So you're gonna have, of course, Jalen Smith, Sean Lee, Damian Wilson probably, and then you have like a Joe Thomas. And out of those 4, one of them is your blitzing linebacker. The Cowboys did that a lot last year, especially against quarterbacks that like to scramble out of the pocket and kind of go through one of the gaps and kind of, get a little 10-yard run here and there. Not just for against Aaron Rodgers, they did that. They do that all the time. So they didn't do it at all against Cam Newton. Now maybe that's what the defense is dictating based on Richard's base cover 3 man press.
Maybe that's what he meant by a big change.
Maybe, but again, that's what I'm trying to say though, is that somehow you have to try to incorporate that deacon in there somewhere too,
now,
along with the cover 3.
One interesting change in the football league, NFL league overall, is that 74% of offensive touchdowns have been scored in the red zone. That's an insane number.
75%, which means
if you get
into the red zone.
Getting into the red zone is critical. It's key, and really it just speaks to how effectively can your team work their way down the field. So a team that can work their way down the field more consistently and spend more time in the red zone, you're gonna score more. And even if you don't, and again, even with outside of touchdowns, even if you're talking out, you don't make it, you're still setting yourself up to hopefully put your kicker in a good spot to at least put some points on the board, which again leads to hopefully a win.
Scorpio,
so
what's
now,
the number for Scorpio 6?
76688.
I always forget. Thank you, fiance.
So now Cowboy fans obviously have had a lot of the wind taken out of their sails, lost a lot of confidence in the team this week. It's not surprising. So last week, the fans in general were 85% confident in the team. So let me see, and that was confident in the direction of the team overall. So most fans do favor the Cowboys to win, but only by 3 points. So again,
well, no, that's the point spread.
The Cowboys are favored to.
So basically, guys, so you know the way the point spread goes is usually the home team gets 3 points. That's almost automatic every single time. So basically, it's an even game. Now the Giant websites and they're big. I think it's Big Blue, something like that. They said that. I'm sorry, I can't see.
The Giants are going to win by 5.
Right, 5 is for them, and then
Blogging the Boys said the Cowboys are going to win by 4.
So
which is
you guys are seeing what's going on here. It's very close. They're saying by over a field goal, but under a touchdown. Both sides are saying they're going to win, which is crazy because they both need this win. It's a desperate win by both these teams. It's almost an elimination. I agree. I still, even though only 8% of the time teams make the playoffs that start off 0-2, it's still possible. It could happen. I think we could do it. But at the same time, I do agree that it's definitely something that we have to be, number one, concerned about. And number two, it's a division game. These things always happen. It pisses me off. We always get to that point. We're right at the cusp of the playoffs, and we say, oh, wait, we lost to Atlanta. Remember that game? Or the Rams or the Packers. And if we had won the Atlanta game, we would have been in the playoffs last year. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. We got to win our games, not later, not middle of the year, now. We got to win them all. Every game counts. We mess around too much, man, and that's the Cowboys' MO for a while. I gotta say, I'm gonna fix I fixed this leaderboard. Scorpio's in first place, rocking it, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Scorpio.
Right, so now, the struggle with Dak is not just coming out of nowhere. When you really look at his stats from his first 24 games to his last 9 games, it's a little bit shocking. So first, his completion percentage went from 66 to 63. His average yards passing, though, this is huge. He went from 228.5 yards to 186 yards. I mean, that's
Huge
like
drop.
50, 60 yards right there on average. So, let me see. The
It's a huge
touchdown
drop.
interception ratio from 39/8 to 6/9. I mean, that means that's horrible. So, again, average sacks, about 1.4 a game. So, I don't know how you get half a sack, but, now.
Well, if you're
I
teaming up with somebody.
But now, an average of 3 sacks a game. And that's in the last 9 games. We can't just blame this all on Travis Frederick not being out or the offensive line.
No,
we just can't. I'm just
deeper.
saying. And
much
rushing.
deeper.
Now, but here's the big one, and I think this is kind of the big revealer. Rushing touchdowns in the first 24 games, he had 10. Last 9 games, only 2. So
Who's holding him back from running?
The interesting part, or the unfortunate part, fumbles is the same. In the last 9 games, he had 4 fumbles. But in the first 24 games of his career, Dak had 4 fumbles. So you can see
but how many?
drop-off.
That's 3 times more though. Games.
I'm just saying it's the same, but and that's what I'm saying. It's just in this small span of time. I mean, that is big.
Yeah.
So
it's huge.
and that's why again, as fans, we're concerned because it's not just a right now; it's the overall trend of what's going on with.
And that's
Dak.
with Dak and the coaches. But yeah, we're talking about Dak
Exactly.
right now.
So now,
being real on all ends.
Obviously, protection-wise, offensive line-wise, there has been a drop-off. So Prescott's been sacked
they're saying
or
O-line.
Yeah,
they're saying.
exactly. So Dak's been sacked 4 more times in 4 of the last 9 games. He's averaged 3.1 sacks after just 1.46 his first 24 games. A big theory is that Prescott needs to run more. But apparently there's no real difference in how much or how effectively he has run during that time frame, with one exception. So Prescott rushed for 10 touchdowns to start his career and only 2 in the last 9 games. He lost 4 fumbles, and Prescott himself said, quote, "It's how the game plays out. You can go back and look at the game. There's situations I should have run, some situations I should have looked to run. It's all about doing it at the right time."
Yeah,
The up-tempo game worked for the Cowboys in the second half against Carolina. Look for more of that against the Giants, and maybe is that
That's
it?
what
Is
I'm
that
talking
we had
about.
again? It had more to do with the overall pace and timing of the plays.
And guys, the
just-
defense was not ready for what we were going to give them, and that means we're giving them the offensive line blocking for Zeke. We're giving them the offensive line blocking for Dak. We're giving the receivers time to create space and run routes on tired cornerbacks and defensive backs and safeties, and that's what you do. Now, you can't run no huddle, quick huddle the whole game. I'm not saying that. Please understand.
Well, no,
but
we
you
didn't
got to
do that
run.
in 2016 either.
No, you don't. And that's you didn't. But we didn't have to. We have to now. Because our offensive line is hurt. Because we don't have a solid receiver that's going to take away coverage like Dez did.
But it should be the opposite. We should be more comfortable doing those things because at this point we should have a quarterback that knows the system that should be doing better with those types of things. And that's partially, it goes both ways. We should be running these things. But because of insert whatever reason you feel like here, Dak can't execute, coaches can't make it happen, other players are failing here.
Yeah, I mean,
Whatever
5-star,
it is,
and we're not blocking 5-star. LT's an upstanding guy, as I said yesterday, guys. And it was and again, I'm just 43. Last night it was
we're gonna time you out, guys. If you again,
personal attacks.
But usually we'll just delete the comment and let
But
you guys know.
we gotta say one. I said this last night on the stream. It was a 3.5 hour stream, and it went a little over because we're talking about some other factors, especially in the Cowboy Nation world. I love all Cowboy fans, guys. We're here for the same thing, even if I disagree with you 100%. 100% I disagree with you. Doesn't matter because you want number 6 and I want number 6. So we all want number 6. But one thing we don't accept on this channel, aside from personal attacks, is bandwagon bullshit. We don't accept that. You're banned. You are not allowed on here now. Unfortunately, it's come to our knowledge, and you guys brought it up yesterday here in the chat that there is a Cowboy YouTuber who switched over to his home state fan. So he went from a Cowboy fan literally last week talking smack about the Falcons, and this week he's wearing an Atlanta Falcons shirt. So when your channel changes from a Cowboy fan in Georgia to Cowboy Sports Review, I'm sorry, man. I'm calling your ass out. You might have been my boy. You might have been a Cowboy fan. We had the same view. And listen, you have your reasons. That's fine, but not fine here in this channel. You see, this channel, we respect people like LT. I had a whole thing yesterday on LT. I will take LT from the Eagles, anytime, every time.
Over any bandwagon.
Over any bandwagon fan, especially a Cowboy piece of garbage bandwagon fan. I'm sorry. And again, do what you want with your life. If you're listening to this somehow on another account, that's fine. I don't care.
Yeah, and I can see
But bandwagons disgust me.
I can
Worse
see
than the
someone
offensive people.
losing interest in you don't want to watch your team anymore. You don't want to watch football anymore. I can see you overall losing interest in it, but not saying, oh, I don't like my team anymore. Let me go be a fan of another team.
Or I can't afford to go visit them in training camp and take video. And I can't afford to go see them playing, even though they played in Atlanta last year. They play again this year in Atlanta. But anyway, who cares?
I can't afford to pay
Can't
attention.
afford to go. I can't afford I can't afford to be around my team enough, even though now you're going to be around the Falcons, and I don't think you're going to go to their games. But anyway, either way, it doesn't matter. Are you doing it for YouTube? Like, are you doing it to try to get views and subs on YouTube? And I don't mind that because we call for subs and views because we put in work. But the thing is that, you call for views and subs on YouTube because then you're just changing teams to what suits your audience. That's bandwagon lameness. Cowboys for life, like Bishop Kane said, the real Bishop Kane says, and that's what we're saying here. We might be corny sometimes. We might be the hysterical family, but you know what? We're damn loyal Cowboy fans to the end. To the end, doesn't matter. We go 0-16, guys.
That's right.
We're 0-16. I don't know how many of you guys are going to be on here. I'm sure most of you will. But we're going to be here putting videos out daily. 0-16, we're here. And that's one thing I guarantee you most video makers won't do. Most of these guys will jump ship. And I'm talking about the guys that are here, that are legends, that have been here from the beginning.
Yeah,
from Shango to us. You know what I'm saying?
Not even talk about those people. No.
I'm not talking about those. Those guys are all good. All everybody's on here and has tens of thousands of subs. They're awesome. They got the Cowboy thing down, and they do their thing. All right, that's cool. Well, I'm talking about I'm not talking about how many subs. I don't care how many subs. You have to have 1 or 1 million. It's just the content. And you jump ship. I don't care how many subs you have. I don't care how many views you have. You jump ship from your team. You could be a Charger fan. You go to the Chiefs. I have lost respect for you. You're not allowed on this channel.
And Raptor, we actually took the pictures behind us when we went to the draft. We went to at&t Stadium. So these are actually, I'm pretty sure, I think, did you take both of them? Or did
I took both of them, yeah.
Yeah,
I took that.
Of course you did.
That was a beautiful picture we took right in front of the stadium, guys. That's the first time we were actually ever able to be there. And look, we're still Cowboy fans. We're not Cowboy fans in Florida. We're Dallas Cowboy fans for life.
Yes.
And you see this one right here, black and white. Switched it up a little bit. Try to make it look nice. We have another one above.
That one at least? No?
I don't think so. I took it.
Yeah.
I took all. But hey, look, the point is, we got our wall full of our. We don't want to put pictures of ourselves, but we wanted to take pictures of our experiences and nice, pictures representing nice scenery, but also
and also repping MCF because we got to meet you guys out there the whole trip. We were able to do it because of you guys. So
and again, that was not cheap. So again, your guys help to this channel, even though I know it's because you guys appreciate and support us and just appreciate the work we put in. So it's almost like
really did
helpful.
Let us do these things, and you guys got to see our lot. Like again, we got to meet Dallas Cowboy Football News.
Yes.
We got to meet Cowboys blog out there. We
Dallas
got to meet
Cowboy
Dallas
fan
Cowboy
1980. We got
and
X
we
Factor.
got to react live.
Yes,
to
right
LVE.
in front of that spot right there.
Yes.
Right in front of the stadium. So you guys helped that happen, and we didn't ask for it. You guys kind of wanted us to go. We said we'll do it. So we went, and we stick to our word. We said we're going to do it, we're going. So
exactly.
again.
And I agree, LT. He said, some fans are just not ready for dispute. I find if you stay respectful, we can all enjoy this entertainment. And that's the point, guys. Look,
that's what it's about.
I'm not here to try and convert you to the Cowboys. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I would actually lose respect. If you weren't a fan of any team and you said, okay, I'm going to be a Cowboy fan, all good. But if LT said I'm a Cowboy fan, I have to take him off the channel. I'm just saying that if LT said to me tomorrow, I'm a Cowboy fan.
No, it means we won. It means it works.
We won, and then he's off the channel.
I'm kidding.
You understand? You get my drift.
You're a Cowboy fan. Go be somewhere else.
I'm a principle kind of guy. And I gotta stick to that. I gotta stick to the truth on that. And I gotta be real. I said I'm not buying Cowboy stuff. I'm gonna live off of this. Our collection of shirts and jerseys we bought since previously of January 1st, 2018 are of our choice. Because we want to see these exact things change. This coaching stuff. This is what we said this.
Yes.
Because of the coaching moves. We wanted to see a change. Because they didn't do anything.
And Cowboys Abroad said, we go 0-16. I'll support your call to fire Garrett. So for 1-15, you're good with it? If you can stay?
I love you, Cowboys Abroad, man. Much love to you. And I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
and I want Garrett I want him to go 15-1, win the Super Bowl, and sign him for 10 years. Give us number 6. You get your 6-year extension.
We'll buy a giant pair of clapping hands.
I will eat carrots for the rest of my life, every day.
The Nike stock, guys, let's go ahead and roll with the news.
Well,
Nike
wait, hold
stock
on.
actually
I want to say that for later because, again, we went out of order.
Okay.
I
already said it. So Nike stock closes at $83.47, which is an all-time high.
All-time high for Nike. So what what's going on? Did they make the wrong move? We got to do the next 3 now, though, because they're all
now,
connected.
This is pretty cool. The top 5 TV shows from September 3rd to the 9th.
What was number 1?
What else, guys? You already know. The Cowboys-Panthers game, baby. With 23.3 million. Holy shit, that's
Unfortunately,
a lot.
we lost, but you know what? That's the worst in Dallas-Fort Worth, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area the Cowboys have had for a season opener. Ever, I think, or in some number. No, sorry, in the last 10 years, I think something big like that. Yeah. But yet we're still number 1 in the NFL. The whole NFL, we're still number 1.
So now, not surprised at all. Sunday Night Football, Bears-Packers. We did
classic
better than
game.
Sunday Night Football. That's insane.
And that was a classic.
Shows the power of the star with 22.1 million viewers. The
Thursday
Falcons
night.
and Eagles game with 19 million,
which
we
beat
pretty
that.
good for a
That's
Thursday.
the kickoff of the season.
I know it's a Thursday though, so even that's a little more.
But people can't. People waited 8 months for this, and we still beat that. That's because of the
Hey.
power of the star, baby.
Yeah,
they either want to see us win or they want to see us lose.
I think they just started watching the game and give up halfway.
They hate us still because they ain't us.
The Texans and Patriots game with 17 million and the 49ers and Vikings game with 12.5. So I think overall, even outside of just, the popularity or whatever, some of these teams, I mean, realistically speaking, you're looking at some possible Super Bowl contending teams here. These are some teams to watch. I mean, the 49ers and Vikings, that's, I'm just saying that some of these matchups.
My point about all these teams is we're on there as number 1
Cowboys.
with the Panthers. It's not a big draw. It's us that's making the draw. So the last piece of that part of information is just important. When you put the Nike situation and the NFL still leading the viewership.
Exactly. So if the NFL... the top 5 rated programs on TV were all football games, and Nike stock closes at an all-time high.
In a year.
Nike stock hits a 52-week high.
52 weeks. That's a year that they've ended in basically an all-time high. That's crazy. When all that, and that boycotting because of the anthem and the kneeling and all that stuff, the boycott, that didn't hurt that much, obviously. The Nike stuff didn't hurt that much. Actually helped Nike. So in the end, the boycotting, whatever the point is trying to make, it's working. Whether people like it or not, it's gonna work, and eventually, it's gonna have to be some kind of respect given to these guys that are trying to bring a light the situation they're trying to bring to light.
Now, Cowboys arrested. If we make it to the second round of the playoffs, no more Carrot. Can Garrett get his name back?
Yes. If he gets to the second,
but I can't promise that I won't slip sometimes because I still mix up Cooper Rush with Pooper Flush.
And that was really
in
recent.
the weirdest ways, really recent. Still in my personal life.
You guys are awesome, man. We're an hour and 13 minutes in. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit the like button, guys. Subscribe if you're new. Keep growing the family, and of course, follow us on Twitter. Go, jump in the Discord and have chat there. All you guys are chatting all day and all night there, whether in text or voice. And of course, hit the notification bell, guys. We go live at any moment. Hopefully, you checked out earlier. Again, I call him the Great because I really followed this guy for a while, but I really gotten into him the last couple of months. Ari Temkin, he was right here on the show today. Yes, live show pre like just a great 20-minute conversation about what's going on now in the Cowboy, Cowboy team.
Now,
in the team and also what's going on with the coaches and what's going on with the game plan and what's going on in the field and practice. This guy is there at all times. So that's why, guys, check out that 20-minute interview. Our special guest, Ari Temkin from 105.3 The Fan. He does a pre- and post-game show for the Cowboys, and he's on the field there, doing interviews. He interviewed Gallup last week. He interviewed Joe Looney and another player tomorrow. So check that out on his sites. We're going to post them all below, guys, in the description.
Now,
thank you, Ari Temkin.
I got to say, Incognito is talking about one of your favorite little tinfoil theories, which is Dak is just a placeholder until Baby Jones can go in there and be the quarterback. He said, I think Dak is a scapegoat. He's a placeholder for Stephen Jones' son. The Joneses are sinister. End of story. I know you've told me this before.
Here's what I believe. Number one, this guy's the number one recruited guy in the whole high school for colleges. So the hype is real behind him. That's number one.
He does have the skills to pay the bills.
Right. That's number one. Number two, of course, when you have the inside track with Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones and the family, then there's a higher chance that, you might be looking towards that way just even before he's even out of high school, which they've been doing. But number three, I don't buy it. You know why? Because when they saw Dak starting to come on, I truly believe Jerry Jones put all the eggs in that basket. I think that Stephen Jones putting all the eggs, and that's why that's why they're making, everyone's like, why do we have $19 million open under the cap right now? It's for Dak and Zeke and Tank. It's for these guys. That's why we're doing this, opening it up for the future. We're playing a different. This is Stephen Jones and Will McClay now. If it was Jerry Jones, we'd have all these guys signed for 10 years for $120 million each, and then if they break and they bust or they or Dak has a horrible season, and now we're stuck with these guys, and you saw this happen with multiple times. That's the Jerry Jones way. Now we're doing it to Stephen Jones, McClay, and it's kind of been rocky. I got to say, it's been rocky. It hasn't been perfect. It's been ugly at times, and it's been okay at times. We got to see it better. We got to see it better from them. We got to see it better from the coaches. We got to see it better from the players. They all got to work together and get this thing working. It's about that star. That star means more than just blue and silver and a star. It means the Dallas Cowboys, and there's a lot of history, a lot of championship, a lot of winning, and it's embarrassing right now.
That blue and silver brings a lot of green. And Incognito kind of followed that up, so he said they're not going to pay Dak. They're going to franchise tag him, keep him for 2019.
And then let him go.
By that time, Jones's kid will have completed 3 years of college. If he chooses not to graduate, he can walk onto the NFL.
And I think that might happen. I agree that could happen. If Dak has a bad year this year, that would be more of the way they would go. If he has a great year, let's say he ends up a Pro Bowler and all the, I think that they will still get Jerry Jones' son. I just don't think it'll be as much as a high priority. I think they might even have Jerry Jones' son, Stephen. Is that his name? Stephen Jones Jr.
John Jones?
Well, I just think that if they had him playing under Dak for a couple years, and then by then Dak's in the league for 10 years, let's say. Now they kind of cycle Dak out and put. I'm just saying but I think there's 2 routes they can go with this. They're still going to get him. They're going to either go with Dak's going to kind of teach him a little bit, and then it's kind of maybe they're going to let him go. Maybe his contract will be over, his bigger contract, or the other route, which would be he has a bad year this year. They can't trust him. They franchise tag him until just enough time to Stephen Jones' sons or Jerry Jones' grandson to get on the team, but then we got to teach him up. Do you trust these coaches? They're going to be changing their tune when their guys getting sacked left and right because of Linehan and Garrett's game planning.
I know. Just the way I see it, I think it can only end badly if the Joneses start mixing a little too much of their family with business. They would do it, though. They would do it. I'm not saying they wouldn't, and I'm not saying they can't. I'm saying this is a different level because now you're talking about a player who, you're talking about an NFL player who's, with an agent and contracts and trades and things like that.
I'm going to rip through some real quick stuff here, guys. I know Fiance does it, but this is more detailed stuff. I'm going to go through it, though. Listen close. I'm not stopping. Week 1 notes. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about it. It's hard to do that, guys, especially the first game. Is all we have. We don't have like 4 games to talk about. We have 1. So, as what's coming up to the Giants, that's what we're heading towards here. Receiver snap. The Week 1 notes, the wide receiver snap counts don't match the preseason hype. We've talked about this already multiple times today. Aside from Lance Lenoir, Michael Gallup is probably the most consistent and productive wide receiver in training camp this offseason so far. All right? Practice report after practice report talked about Gallup making plays. Guys, the practice reports we read about, the things we saw, it was Gallup making. And where is he? Where's Tavon? All right, so Tavon Austin came with a lot of talent. So forget about the kicks and punt returns. For the punt returns, they were going to use him 12 to 24 times a game, getting the ball in his hands. We were laughing at it. That's what they kept pushing. Linehan, Stephen Jones, the carrot. They all were pushing this, right? So it's a surprise when you look at the snap count, guys, that Michael Gallup and Tavon Austin saw fewer snaps than Deontay Thompson. And he's my guy. Deontay Thompson should not be getting more snaps than those guys. So, I don't know. Owner Jerry Jones said that Tavon Austin, 2 weeks ago, he said that quote, this is what Jerry Jones said 2 weeks ago, less than 2 weeks ago about Tavon Austin, quote, what we didn't know is that Tavon could play outside receiver. In our makeup this year, to get those defenses to back off the line of scrimmage so that Zeke can have some room to operate in order to get them off, we're going to do it with speed. This is a quote from Jerry Jones, all right, on 8/31/18, for those in Europe, August 31st, 2018. Jerry Jones said this on 105.3, The Fan. Ari Temkin was just on here from that channel, the pre-post game show for the Cowboys. There you go, guys. I mean, Jerry Jones quoted this about Tavon, how we're going to get people. We didn't do it once. Is that Dak's fault? Does this hurt Zeke and Dak and the whole entire team? Yes. So, again, listen to this, guys. The snaps for our guys. Listen to the snaps. Cole Beasley, 43 snaps, okay? 8 targets. That's good. We want to see that. That's good.
It makes sense
right.
overall.
Allen Hurns, the starter, 38 snaps, 2 targets. 2 targets. Deontay Thompson, the guy who was cut as the 6th receiver, put back on the team. Specialist kind of guy, in my opinion. You got to put him out there sometimes. Deontay Thompson had 30 snaps. He had 5 targets. Other than Beasley, he had the next He had the most targets on this team, on our receiving core. And he was just picked up a couple days after he was cut. And nobody else picked him up. Even though I thought that the Bears or Bills might go after him. These are facts that I'm laying out for you guys. So Michael Gallup had 29 snaps with only one official target. He did have 2 other targets. I think they were he caught 1 target, but the other one he was flagged. There was an defensive pass interference. So, he got 2 targets. One was interference and one was a catch for Michael Gallup. Again, he's officially listed with 1 target, which was the actual catch, because the target which led to the interference called by the defender does not count as a target. So 1 target for Gallup for a catch. Terrence Williams, guys, T. Will, the starter, right? He had 19 snaps. 19 snaps. And he had 1 target. Tavon Austin, which is the most surprising one, 10 snaps. Out of all of our receivers, guys, all 6 receivers, Tavon Austin had the least of all our receivers. He had 10 snaps, 0 targets. And yes, you can't call that first one a target because it was a penalty on Tyron Smith. So that's not a target. It wipes out the play. He had 0 targets. He had the ball once in his hands on a running play. Jet sweep special from Scott Linehan, offensive coordinator. Now, you can't tell me that these things do not affect Dak Prescott just on its own. I know that he messed up with the throws. I give him blame for that. But you can't tell me that these things don't factor in. Anything else other than, sir, yes, sir, would be a lie to yourself. Because that right there tells you the whole story. Okay, let me rewind. A lot of the story. A lot of the deeper foundational issues with this team. So you want the entire story. Dak is an issue and it has to improve. The line has to improve. The communication with Looney, with his linemen, have to improve. Zeke has to improve, get less rusty. Preseason snaps missed. That's the coaches. That's not Zeke or Dak asking to miss those snaps. So in the end, after all of that on offense and some of the player issues, that the player execution issues that are offense and on defense, those have to be fixed by the players. But then you look at the foundational issues that really cause and accentuate all these things. That is the coaching staff, primarily Scott Linehan and Jason Garrett, and that's it. I mean, the film I've seen does not prove it. Proves me right. What you got, a lot of this film, the stuff that I'm talking about right now with Zeke with 15 carries and 3 catches, the things about these targets that you're seeing, these snaps you're seeing on the field, the opportunities on the field, the tight ends, 3 tight ends, Dalton Schultz, Jeff Swaim, and Dalton Schultz, Jeff Swaim, and Blake Jarwin had 82 snaps between all 3 of them. Divide 82 by 3, what do you get? I mean, you're getting what, like 20, almost 25? You're getting over 25, 26 snaps per, I don't know. Look, my point is that's you get 26 snaps on the field with tight ends, while guys like Gallup, T. Will, and Tavon are not getting as many. They're getting off the field while these tight ends are coming on the field. You know what I mean? So it's insanity. It's insanity.
Yeah,
so
well, it's kind of incognito said, "Oh wait, the coaching wizards in Dallas are gonna unlock Tavon's untapped potential."
They were gonna do it. Remember we said about doing that?
They made us feel like he had potential to untap. I mean, I'm sorry, we
bought
the hype,
and that's why. And it's not about buying it. We don't have another choice.
You know what I mean?
We have no choice but to go with the hype because we gotta hope that what they're teaching, these are NFL professional coaches that are telling us and they don't do it. They're not. So when you tell me about Dak struggling, I agree Dak struggled. It almost makes me want to throw up when I see Dak miss some of his reads and not run when he should have, and then run when he shouldn't have. That breaks my heart. Mm-hmm. But I will critique him and it's on. But you don't sit there and tell me and make a whole video about that it's all on Dak. That's just ignorant. When you're avoiding the miscommunication by the offensive lineman, you're avoiding the 15 running plays for Zeke. You're avoiding the fact that we're putting out more tight ends on that field than receivers. You're avoiding the fact that we're talking about Tavon Austin. We gave him the ball never but 1 jet sweep. We're talking about being new and unpredictable, new age, and then we do the predictable jet sweep as an example. Have I said anything that's incorrect, guys? Please tell me if I'm wrong. Hit dislike if I'm wrong about anything I just said. I would want you to, because I'm not. I know I'm not wrong about any of this stuff. This is facts. These are not like opinions. These are facts. I'm not saying that maybe they should have run him more. I'm saying Tavon was on the field for 10 plays. He didn't get any targets. These are facts. Gallup and T. Will and Tavon were outsnapped by our tight ends. That's a fact. I mean, Zeke got the ball 15 times on the ground and 3 times in the air for a total of 17 yards in the air. He could have had over 100 if he had the ball 20 times. Okay, let me not go to that, but he had the ball 15 times on the ground and he had 3 catches for 17 yards. These are facts.
The way I see it, if Dak was the only person responsible, football would be a 1v1 game. There's 10 other guys out there with Dak. There's a whole host of coaches and people behind that team. So even when one player messes up or one thing goes wrong, or even if it comes down to just one play or one thing, at the end of the day, we always say if your game comes down to one play or one penalty, you should play a game that does not come down to one play and one penalty. You don't put yourself in that position.
And you might need it. But then you have Brett Maher to kick that field goal, right?
No. All right, so back to the news.
Listen, here's the killing stat. You want to hear another stat that's going to just curdle your blood? I don't know if that's even a word. I don't know, but I don't care. Tavon Austin's 10 offensive snaps, guys, was the 3rd fewest on the team. The only people that had less offensive snaps on the entire offense, including Dalton Schultz. 2 guys. Backup Rod Smith and fullback Jameez Olawale. They both had barely fewer snaps than Tavon Austin's 10. Woo! I just can't tell you how pissed I can get. Dallas Cowboys offensive staff is uncreative. Let's just call it what it is. They're not creative at all. And that's what they're being called right now by us and by many other people out there, and for a good reason. Not just because of Dak and Dak and Dak and Dak and Dak and Dak. People want to blame Dak and show you video and stills frames and a still shot of, look at this, half a millisecond moment where maybe Tom Brady would make that play, maybe Drew Brees would make that play, but Carson Wentz would throw the pick, and so would Dak. So don't let them fool you with the video stuff, guys. It's not all that simple. Trust me, there's underneath coverage that would have picked off Dak half those plays they say Dak should have thrown the ball. So tremendous weapon in Tavon Austin, talking him up all year, and we use him. 0 targets, 10 times on the field. Embarrassing, guys. Michael Gallup, all these high expectations. All these other guys, the tight ends got more shots out there than he did. Other snap counts, guys. So let's talk about some other snap counts. Taco. When Gregory went down, basically he had to play the whole game. He led the team with Antoine Woods with 49 snaps apiece. Both of them had 49 snaps. It's fantastic. He's hanging in there. I like what Taco's doing, and Antoine Woods as well, though he might be moved around a little bit more because now you might see a little more, what's his name, Malik Collins in the house. You might very well see that. I don't know what happened. I heard a little beep or buzz or something go off. Okay, there we go. All right, let me just do that. So, sorry, guys, I'm on track here. We do have Yumi still leading with 50 points, and you see the Donation Weekly winner.
You could take it away with
that's young Wilson.
Kyle Wilbur.
With a former Kyle Wilbur.
So now 5-Star has a quick question.
Just because but I do want to talk about snap counts, about Taco. And
Broken Nerd is absolutely right. If you want to see Fiance over here get pissed off, come join us on MCF Game Day live streams, guys. You will laugh, you will cry, you will scream. You'll have fun.
Hopefully,
5-Star said, my Cowboy Fiance said we weren't getting the number of plays to get Austin more plays. How do we give Zeke 5 more runs and Austin 5 more plays? How? How do we... Well,
here's the thing. First of all,
we get more plays by executing the one before it.
But hold on. But you can blame Dak. You can blame other individual execution stuff. But you know how you start foundationally fix that? I'll tell you 5-Star. You take your goddamn tight ends out. Or you activate Rico, which is, again, a coaching call. If you're going to use your receivers, all right? If you're going to try to fool the defense and go with a 2 personnel, which is 0 running backs and 2 tight ends, at least make one of those tight ends Rico. At least activate him. That's a coaching call. That's why I'm saying these are coaching issues. You put Rico on there, eyeballs start going to Rico. I guarantee you, Carolina's defense, Giants defense, I don't care. You see the 6'7" guy, 6'8", whatever, out there, and you know what he can do. You already heard about him. You're going to watch him. You're going to shift over a little bit. And that's maybe what Zeke needs. That's maybe what Beasley needs to break it all the way. Maybe that's what Gallup needs to go deep. You guys get what I'm saying, man? I know about Dak. I saw it. You guys saw it with us. We got pissed and calling Dak names and stuff. But then you got to look at the things in reality and what's the foundational issue. We see the execution issues, especially on defense. That's got to be fixed. The coaching was great on defense, I thought, for the most part. Foundational issues on offense is what's going to haunt this team with Dak or without Dak, with Zeke or without Zeke. You throw in most quarterbacks, anybody under the top 3 quarterbacks in that game. I think they'll hit some of those plays, the ones that Dak could have read. Yes, those were Dak. But those other half that a lot of people are trying to make you believe that it's all on Dak. I guarantee you those would have been picks if he had thrown some of those, and again, some of those would have been picks by your Kirk Cousins out there, your Alex Smiths, you know what I mean? And definitely Eli Mannings. So I'm just saying, you'll see that even your Carson Wentz's get picked on half of those plays. They're telling you he should have thrown it. No. And he doesn't, I'm telling you, he's not confident out there because he doesn't trust tight ends going for 50-yard bombs. I don't think I would, especially as your first year throwing to them. If you're throwing a 50-yard bomb, and you never did that to Jason Witten, that's a 30-yard bomb. That's as far as you go. But a 50-yard go route for Blake Jarwin, he's been playing on this team, on our offensive first team for first game. You know what I mean? And you've never really practiced with him more than 30 snaps in the preseason? My point is, there's going to be a cohesive issue there, and you saw it. Whether it's Dak, whether it's Blake Jarwin, or the coaching staff, but the coaches are not helping. There's a track record. They didn't do it with Atlanta last year. They never helped out Chaz Green. They never helped out Dak Prescott. And they never helped out our team against Seattle when we got Zeke back healthy, ready to go on the goal line, first and goal on the 2. And they basically made us very, once again, predictable on the goal line. We lost the game. Got 0 points out of that drive. And again, that is only one person to blame on that. I mean, if we had scored, you got to give all credit to Dak or Zeke or whoever would have scored, or the offensive line. But if you don't score, you blame the coaches on that drive because they became way too predictable. If we score, even being predictable, then it's on the players. You understand? That's why in 2016 we were predictable, but we scored because of the players. We need to get back to that. We need to somehow find that. And with our defense that's going and rolling right now, we need part A and part B. We're going to roll, guys. So thank you for that. I don't know. I've been ranting on and rolling on for a while.
Yeah, we're going to keep rolling with the news in just a second. Scorpio76688 said, if we have a bad season, I'm going to bet Jason Garrett keeps his job and tells Jerry Jones it was because of Linehan's play calling, so they'll fire Scott and get a new OC. So
that's what you said.
And that's what
Ari Temkin said the opposite.
And that's why I love, not just having different people on, but having these discussions with you guys here in the chat.
Yes.
Because I agree 100%. I think that Linehan is easily, like you said, Kellen Moore, Linehan, they're the easy scapegoats in this.
Hand in hand.
Honestly,
They're
like
out.
you said, you could even put Marinelli out if you want to. If you really want to, I don't see why.
They'll probably just let him retire because he's going to retire anyway.
But outside of that, I could see why they might do that. Okay. But Ari Temkin said earlier today he doesn't think that it's going to be one or the other, that they're kind of a package deal.
So Ari Temkin says that
I'm assuming it's the reason that is because of the fact that Jason Garrett has put so much on the line. Right, he's put his coaching self. He's like, I'm putting my eggs in the Linehan basket.
He's vouching for Linehan.
Exactly.
And so he's going to go down with the ship, is what Ari was saying. So you can see that, I guess. You can see that happening.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Honestly, this is it could go 50-50.
But if Jerry Jones wants to scapegoat him out, he can. He has the option. That's all we're saying, I guess you could say in the end, is that maybe Ari Temkin is right, and he probably is right.
All right, but here's where we might both be wrong. If Jerry Jones is backing up away from the team and letting Stephen Jones take over, and I know Stephen Jones apparently gets along great with Garrett or whatever, but he obviously has a different relationship than Jerry has.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So maybe Jerry Jones, again, might be all for it, and Stephen Jones might not be. I don't know.
And Stephen Jones might make the final call on this. In the end,
we kind of do know how Jerry Jones feels because we've seen it for the last 7 years.
We touched on this with Ari. We touched on this with Ari Temkin, that the picture that was taken has nothing to do with Dez coming back to Dallas. It has everything to do with putting Jason Garrett on alert. And Ari talked about the reasons why, putting that image out there. He's 100% right. By doing that, I made the point of Jerry Jones knows, he's a businessman. He knows what he's doing. He's not being dopey. He's not being a dope. He's saying, I want these pictures out there because the Carrot will see it. He'll hear it. And he knows that in a kind of me not having to say that this, if you don't make the playoffs, you're out of here. If you don't make the playoffs, you're out of here. Look at this image. I'm sitting here with the guy who he hates your ass. He hates you, and you hate. You're the reason why he's gone, Jason Garrett, Linehan, and he's sitting next to me here in my stadium. I'm just saying, how much more of an impact can you make with that?
Game Time 3D said, I agree with that too. Linehan would be sacrificed in order to protect Garrett. The next,
and that's what I'm saying is that unless there's that little buffer still that Jerry Jones has a little bit of like is going to save the Carrot. That's the only way I think I agree with you, that it goes that route. Or I think Jerry Jones will still try to find an escape route, but like you said, if he really put it all on there with the Bailey situation, which he took full control of over the other coaches that said to keep Dan Bailey. He said, no, we're going to go with Maher. He's putting his job on the line with that and with Linehan. So I think that Ari's kind of right on that. But I think, I think that if he does enough, something in there this season that gets to...
Cowboys Abroad said it, is a person a scapegoat if the problems are really their fault. So getting rid of Linehan isn't a scapegoat situation. It is a scapegoat situation.
Well, how you use it.
In Garrett's case, in the sense of, like, if Linehan goes and Garrett stays, because here's the thing. Right. At the end of the day, Linehan, we heard Garrett say it just now. He is allowing Linehan to do whatever. As a head coach, it is your job to steer the ship. If the ship is going and about to hit the iceberg, you don't want to hit the iceberg.
Listen, we're gonna. There's so many guys. Stay on, please, with us because I gotta roll through this.
Let's go ahead. Go through the news.
Because I really gotta go through it. And you guys keep posting your comments and listen because that scapegoat comment there, Cowboys Abroad, is a great point because that's something we're gonna touch on here. And it's not necessarily straight up scapegoating. It's more of what. Just bear with me. You'll see what we're talking about here. But other snap counts, because we just talked about the snap counts on the offensive receiving core and tight ends and Tavon. And to me, that hurts Dak Prescott. He spent all offseason getting in tune with these guys. Then they throw in 2 out of 50% of your receiving core are tight ends that you never practiced with in the offseason. It defeats the purpose. It's almost like, let's go to his weakness. Like, okay, well, his strength is all the receivers. Let's put in 2 receivers. Let's put in 2 receivers and 2 tight ends rather than 4 receivers that he worked out with. You know what I mean? That seems to me like a why? Why are they pushing the envelope? They don't have to. So, anyways, defensively, Taco and Antoine Woods played 73% of the defensive snaps, guys. That's awesome. They played 1 more snap than DeMarcus Lawrence and Tyrone Crawford. They credited Pro Football Reference credited Taco with 2 pressures in the game, and Taco was playing very good. A stop, which basically is a play that ended in a loss for the offense, so a tackle for a loss, a pass defensed, knocked around, defended, and 3 total tackles. I mean, he had a very good game. Jalen Smith led the linebackers in snaps with 62 on the defense. So that's good to, Jalen Smith's out there. He's healthy. He needs to improve a little bit. He had some player error. He needs to improve, but I think he'll get there. Jeff Swaim appears to be in the lead as far as tight end after his first week. He had more than doubled Blake Jarwin's. Blake Jarwin had 22 snaps. He had 12 more snaps than Tavon Austin. And I know some of those snaps are blocking snaps. If you're going to use Tavon, you want to get him the ball 12 to 24 times, you got to put him in more than 10 times. Anyways, in his first start at center, Joe Looney, this is since 2015. He did start in 2015, but he played very well. According to PFF, he did not allow a sack, a hit, a pressure, or a hurry on any of the Cowboys' 44 pass blocking snaps. That's very good. As we said, though, he didn't help out, in my opinion, enough, which you don't have that stat there, but I don't think eye test-wise he was able to help out enough. Connor Williams, a rookie, who needed a little more help in there. Now, who deserves blame? Everybody deserves blame, but let's look a little closer, some specific situations, because we already talked about all the issues and why, but when it comes down to it, consistent questions about the lack of proven receivers. Cowboys are confident this offseason that Dak would silence doubters with these new coaches around him on offense. And that includes Kellen Moore, Sanjay Lal, Paul Alexander, and of course Scott Linehan taking a bigger role in the whole, basically quarterback coaching almost. In the end, it was just another fatal mix of the same old crap, the same old stuff. And guys, you saw it, the jet sweep. That's just the easiest example, but just the same unfamiliarity with his targets again for Dak Prescott, which Linehan called these plays, except for that one drive, which Dak dominated. 3rd consecutive game for Dak. That's what it led to. 3rd consecutive game for Dak under 200 yards passing. When you look at the film from Prescott's 35 dropbacks, he had 35 times he dropped back for pass. They didn't necessarily throw it. He got sacked, he ran, but 35 times he dropped back. You can see who has blame on this, guys. The Cowboys are once again, number one, the first and foremost, foundationally, this is what's written here, painfully predictable in their receiver routes. Watch the video. Watch the routes. Yes, sometimes they were open. I give you 5 or 6 of those. And it could have made a difference in the game. How badly we played by the coaches. With Dak 2 or 3 good plays, we could have won this game. So that's why you're blaming Dak. But if we had coached it, this game was coached right, we would have been winning by 20. We could have been winning by 10. So, anyways, vanilla, crappy wide receiver routes. You can see it out of the 35 dropbacks. You see these routes, most of them are predictable. The defense is sitting on every single receiver almost every time. It was huge ineptitude there, guys. It gave Dak Prescott a few, but very few, openings to throw the pass, getting it down the field. A couple to the tight ends, you saw those, but those are the ones that stick out. But you don't see the ones that weren't even close to being open. The ones that were very predictable, that were just blanketed. And even some of those, like I said, the ones that the 20 people that want to be picked on, 15 of those were really chancy. Or just completely off and just kind of wanted to see the agenda they're trying to sell you. So, but again, I got to say it again and again. Dak still has to improve. He's got to get more comfortable. He's got to get better with his anticipation. He lacks anticipation. And that's a Dak issue. He puts his head down when he scrambles. If the coaches aren't coaching him, then it's on Dak. Then it's on the coaches, but they're telling him do this, do that, and he keeps doing it. And Dak is the issue here. But if the coaches know it and they can't fix it, then they have to make a choice as well, or they're the worst coaches of all time. So a lot of things have to go wrong, guys, for the Cowboys to be held to one score on offense, guys, in the NFL nowadays. But they left very small amount of plays for Dak to have big plays. They had very small amount, like 2 or 3. I think it's here maybe. Also, remember, they allowed 6 sacks. And he was hit more than he was in Atlanta last year in this game. So they didn't roll him out. I've been saying roll him out. They didn't roll him out not once. All right? This is a regressing offense per Scott Linehan. Not because we lost. Dez Bryant's in the game. We're still losing the game. I believe we still lose the game because of the coaching. A sample of their passing game in Prescott's rookie year, Cowboys have not had the same success in moving the pocket for Dak ever since that year. When you see it in this past game, guys, the Panthers prepared for the only real target on the play, which was T. Will in motion when he went across a lot of the times in our formations to kind of see what the defense was doing. When he shifted to a high look while maintaining a 9-man box, meaning they wanted to stop Zeke, all right? Something that Zeke saw all day. Still at 80-something yards. The extra defensive back on the near side remains in perfect position to take T. Will away from Dak. So even though it looks like it's single coverage, and it's still the defensive back on the near side still is able to take T. Will away. The result ends up being with Dak throwing the ball out of bounds. There's no choice for him. He has no choices out there for him. Sometimes the coaches would break down the field, half of the field on purpose. It looks like he's only looking one way. Yeah. Because the coaches have broken it down to only have him look one way. It's not his choice. It's what he's told to do. So when you add all these things in, it looks bad on film, and some of this is on Dak. I still say, in the end, for Dak to really save his job, he's going to have to defy Scott Linehan. He's going to have to defy him and take over and prove it to Garrett. Prove it to the fans that he can do it on his own, with the little guidance from Linehan. Get the confidence and give Dak the ability to move around in the pocket and work it. Because when he did that, we got down the field. Cowboys have a lot of inability to create and use any of their weapons, like Tavon and these fast guys, Deontay Thompson, Zeke, Dak himself in the running game. We didn't use these guys. They relied heavily on simple routes almost the entire game, forced the receivers to turn around and see where Prescott was, who usually was already in trouble. He's scrambling 3.1 seconds. A lot of times, a second or two was him scrambling for his life, trying to look. And again, he looked down, so that's on him. But the guys were still trying to find the opening because they were covered. They were blanketed.
Quick question, baby. Do you remember exactly when Dak hurt his ankle? I could have sworn it was towards the end of the game.
The last play.
Perfect. Okay,
when
so
he fumbled.
Just making sure. Sure because I know he hurt his elbow a little bit. He not hurt it, but he banged it up a little bit in like the first.
And I don't know that 5-star. I don't know why. I wish I knew because I've been screaming Dak should have ran a couple times. He did not. I think it's the coaches telling him not to run the whole offseason. They want him to kind of stay in. They want to make him a pocket quarterback. Now, if that's the truth. I'm just saying. I'm saying it's my opinion. I don't know if that's the case, but if that is the truth, if they're trying to make him a pocket quarterback, that's the coaches killing Dak Prescott's career.
Well, Incognito's saying Dak was limping pretty early in the game. Go back, look at the film. He must have aggravated and initially turned ankle.
Maybe so, but
how bad do they lie and say it isn't?
True. So, he said himself today. We'll read the quote. Yeah. The fiance will read it, but he said it happened on that last. He said that's when he really hurt it. So
but
maybe
like
you're
you
right.
said, maybe he did
Correct.
earlier in practice or something. Again, just a little hit, a bang, a little something.
Some more consistency, like some more issues with our offense. When I'm talking about our coaches and Linehan in particular, Des Bryant, he's not Tony Romo when it comes to calling plays. He can barely read the defense. That's why they kept simple routes for him. They didn't want to give him the option routes. They didn't want to make the whole route tree for Des because he couldn't really handle it mentally. That's what they say. That's the knock on Des. But yesterday, Des, and he could just be talking crap. Not yesterday, but during the Carolina game, he said, quote, "It's kind of cool calling out all the signals and knowing which route players are about to run." And he has like a laughing emoji, like laughing, like crying.
Cry face, yeah.
Cry face laughing. So again, even though you might not like what he's saying, it's true. We can call it. We see it. He's calling it, and he knows it.
You see the jet sweep before it even happens.
Everybody's calling that. Everybody. So,
it's
guys,
like the ghost of Lucky Whitehead.
maybe this whole thing was misleading. It's not really who's to blame. We know who's to blame. We know it's Linehan. And we know Dak has to improve. There's got to be execution. But Linehan is the foundational issue, and Garrett's inability to be a head coach is another foundational issue for 8 years. Linehan for 5th year. And that's what I'm just saying. I think you could throw in 90% of the quarterbacks in here, in this league, in our team, all right? And 90% of the receivers in this league on our team, put them together. Your 89th percentile guy on your quarterback, 89th percentile receiver, and you're still going to have these same issues most of the time. Consistently, you're going to be inconsistent and look like that. And I'm not every time, a better quarterback would find and maybe even win that game, but they'd have to turn to Romo. And when I say that, I mean Romo would change the play. He would take control of the play and cut out Linehan's play, change it around to fit the schemes that he sees. I think Dak can do that, but they don't trust him yet. I think that's coaching issues.
No,
Coaching
I
issues.
So real quick, guys, for those of you guys here, hit the like button, sub it up. If you're new, hit that notification bell so you don't miss when we're live. We're here every day with news, updates, and
almost
our
at 2,500
on the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
So now DJ Crown J in the house with
DJ, and he's the leader. He was the leader. Now he's in second place.
Yeah, so he said Dak should have played in the preseason with his new receivers to get on
Correct.
the same page.
Correct. You're right on that. And that's what we've been saying that. They had him thinking he was going to work with the receivers. He worked with them the whole offseason. Then you put 4 receivers in, and 2 of them are tight ends.
But you know what? I still agree with what DJ and I originally said way back before all this as far as the preseason. I still think you only need 2 preseason games. Maybe even 3 at the most.
We'll see.
But it's about, again, getting the right guys out there.
If you use 2 preseason games to play, your starters for a quarter of the first one and then a half in the second one, and in your 3rd preseason game, you use only your backups because you got to find out who's going to make the team, and it's also a way of advertising yourself, for another team. And if they get hurt, they get hurt. They got to give it all they got anyways. That would be more reasonable. I think 3 would be good. 2 that you got to play your starters, and then or at least for a quarter and then a half.
That it would be everyone in the league would be having that same setup. But I don't know, just my personal.
Well, I gotta say, and again, when I say about the things that are going on in the Cowboys, and I just went through a whole thing about the Dak being a reason, but the other reasons that you have to also throw into it that should overshadow Dak's issues. I'm not going over it again. Ari Temkin from 105.3 The Fan was our special guest tonight. Check that out, guys. Earlier in the stream, if you're watching some replay, make sure you watch the first 20 minutes. He has the insight and the inside info on what's going on right there on the Cowboys sideline. He interviewing the players. He's talking to Joe Looney tomorrow on his podcast. He talked to Gallup last week.
Check it out, guys.
We're gonna post the links below, guys. Ari Temkin is the man. He's gonna be back on here again. And this guy, him and I, we had great conversation in the past and a lot of stuff that we've talked about. This guy is the real deal. He's gonna have his show, and he comes on every day at 1 Eastern time, 12 Central. Check out his shows on Phantom. And I will post all that below, guys. But this guy was great. He was at the beginning of the channel. He's on 105.3 the Fan. He does the pre and post game for the Dallas Cowboys. He's the Dallas Cowboys radio network pre and post game.
Yeah.
And he's on the field looking at every play what the Cowboys are doing and interviewing players. So he's our little awesome source here, to help us figure out this Dallas Cowboy 2018 season. And much love to Ari for appearing here on the show.
Yes, and thank you again, LT, for that compliment. But DJ Crown just said at this point, I don't want to hear Dak talk. Just put in the work. You got to remember, though, what is Dak supposed to do when his coach?
I want you to read his quotes.
I know, but
Fiance don't know his quotes.
I know, but even outside of that, I'm talking more specifically when Linehan and I guess Jerry Jones not as much because he planned on exiting stage left anyway. But when Linehan played such a bad game, he left his team high and dry and left Zeke and Dak out there to answer comments. and he didn't. I'm just saying.
Raging Cajun cracking me up though. He says Cowboys. I just started hating Dak because of Mark. Is it Mark Holmes?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But other than that, I do really like the Cowboys. Well, hey, on this channel, man, it's about loving the Cowboys, or if you hate them, that's fine. But LT, see, he's an example of someone, who will take him twice on Sunday, every day of the week, twice on Sundays over Dallas Cowboys in Georgia, who's flip-flopped over to the Atlanta Falcons. What's going on with that? I hope you watch this.
The Cowboys
I'm calling you out,
like
man. That's embarrassing.
Cowboys
you don't do
almost
that.
like that, that I don't know. It's kind of like your parents. It's like, I don't know. You can fight, you can whatever. This is still family, man.
Yeah,
it's always family.
Every single true Dallas Cowboy fan in this channel, that subscribe to this channel, hopefully, and all you guys out there in the world, all millions of us. If you're true fans, all you want to see is the Cowboys win number 6. If you're LT Metters, you don't want to see the Cowboys win number 6, you're not a Cowboy fan. But he's a true Eagle fan, and I respect him for that. I wonder if the Cowboys win a Super Bowl, what does Dallas Cowboy in Georgia do? Is he happy? I'm sure inside he's kind of happy. But you can't ever reclaim the star, brother. Your pass is taken away. It's been revoked. Get out of Cowboy Town, brother. You're out of here, and don't ever come back. No joke. That he's banned from here in that way, and that's not a secret. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
And that's something we make clear in this channel. We don't take personal attacks and that kind of racism and sexism and all that, and we don't take bandwagon as fans. From any team.
Diego Maestas said Dak needs to get his confidence back.
That's
and I know,
true.
And again, in the chat, I know we were talking about this a lot earlier.
I love
how
these
Dak's
conversations.
Loss of confidence. And I specifically, yes, I'm calling it, guys, that Atlanta game, specifically that game, ever since then, Dak has not been the same.
Yeah.
He's lost a little bit of it up here. And the team, I feel like, just hasn't made it any easier. So let's go ahead and
I want you to answer LT's comment.
He said, but fiance, no, he did not. No, he did not. That was not my son. That was that was his dad. I'm allowed to blame the other parent when he does something wrong, right?
Trust me, LT. That was definitely. He didn't realize that the mistake. How great he made.
Childish, youthful playfulness, guys. When your kid does something and you just look at them like, I raised you better than that.
We gave him the Rico Gathers treatment for a week. That's what basically happened. So. we
Thankfully, he
benched
did not
him.
commit a Rico Gathers offense.
No. This is worse. This is worse, Green. You never loved the Eagles.
Yeah, Buddy Johnson, exactly. See, he's in Georgia. He's a Cowboy fan because he knows what's up.
I was born in Jersey.
Everywhere.
And I was surrounded by, there's no DirecTV. There was no satellite dish in 1982. I watched the Cowboy. I'm a Cowboy fan. My mom was a Cowboy fan. She liked Roger the Dodger. My dad loved the Giants since the Polo Grounds, 1920. I mean, my dad was born in 1925. The cheerleaders and the star and the colors is what got me to. I didn't know about Super Bowls when I was 5, and I entered a world of crap because then we had 5-11 and 3-13 and 1-15. And then 7-9, and then the rest of the story, guys. Maybe some of the...
LT, don't make me go beat my child with a Cowboys helmet. I'm joking, guys. No. Let's make that clear. We would never, ever do anything like that. So, let me see. GWiz41 said Dak has to improve his footwork and his dropbacks, and he doesn't look comfortable.
You're right. And you know what else he doesn't do? When he drops back, he kind of... He definitely has an issue with dropback. His footwork, he keeps his feet still. He'll fling the ball and not move his lower body. That's the first rule. That's the first rule of quarterback.
Dak throws the ball like I don't
know.
A rock. Like this. Like he's like.
Yeah, I don't like. He doesn't really have that quarterback natural. But even with
it
that,
used to. I mean, it worked before.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? Even with all of that, if you run to Dak's strengths. And they haven't the last 2 years. If you run to Dak's strengths, Dak will not only look better, he'll play better, give your team a better chance to win. That's what the coaches should be focusing on. Then they shouldn't be focused on having Dak do their thing. Like their way without any kind of leeway. When you see Dak's way working, then go Dak's way. But the stubbornness of this coaching staff, it's going to be the demise of this team this year. Now, let me get back to, because it's not just the coaches, it's not just Dak. Tyron Smith. He might be healthy, but he ain't playing well. Second most assured asset on this offensive line. and he was called for 2 penalties that led to Dallas punts. He killed our drives. Rookie left guard Connor Williams allowed a fourth quarter sack. Fill-in center Joe Looney performed well, but was not in position to block in space as much as the Cowboys to hope to see Travis Frederick doing when he comes back, whether it's this year or next year. And that's my point. The help wasn't there for Connor Williams. That's what we lose. We don't lose the straight blocking. That seems to be fine with Looney. I'm confident that as center, not as a guard, but as a center. And I've talked with Vach about this. But it worries me that A gap to the left side of the center, that gap between Looney and Connor Williams is the issue. And it's going to be the issue the entire year. Because Looney, to him, until he's able to help Connor Williams is going to let a sack or two go every game. So we'll see. We'll see, guys. Fortunately, Zach Martin played fantastic. Okay, we know that. La'el Collins, though, not a Pro Bowl, but struggled. He was on an upswing last year, and then he's struggling. He struggled against some speed rushers and flushed Dak out of the pocket a little too early at times. And yes, he had the ball for 3.1 seconds, but that was part of the scrambling. He just couldn't find anybody because it was crappy routes by Linehan, not by Sanjay Lal, by Linehan. He's the one running the offense, not Sanjay Lal. All he can do is just have him run the routes, precisely and accurately, which was done. But they still know what we're doing. They figured out not Dak. They figured out Linehan. So there's not going to be many tenured coaches, as Ari was speaking earlier, that can survive another season that's derailed by the strongest unit on the team here, the offensive line. It remains too early still to predict what's going to happen, guys, but these guys cannot break down. If they do, guys, there's no way that the discipline behind the scenes, yes, I know it's the execution, but when you have it every year happening, every freaking season, penalties, and the same coaches in place, you got to start wondering that some of it, it's not just execution. Some of it has to do with the foundational coaching, system and style from the top. And that's Jason the Carrot Garrett, head coach. And sorry, listen, guys, it's frustrating. It's just one game. And we still got a ways to go. The Chris Landry, all right? He said this about the Cowboys. He's an analyst, not going to put too much on. He's a failed, scout or whatever. But he said this, quote, "It's the same ugly, poor ownership from a football standpoint. Poorly developed team, poorly coached team. They're just a really bad looking operation." And I hate to say that because that's representing the star. But we got to be real about this, Cowboy Nation.
We do.
It's looked ugly for 24 freaking years. It's looked actually ugly for 26 years because you got to go back when they fired Jimmy Johnson. When Jerry Jones, for 5 years, Jerry Jones did the right things. And then, he got Deion Sanders, and I guess he did a couple good things, and he got Bill Parcells in it, but he did too many wrong things. The cons outweighed the pros after 26 years. We got a Super Bowl, but that was per Jimmy Johnson days. That was per Jimmy Johnson's team, other than the Jerry Jones, influx, which was Deion. So, anyway, we're talking about the stats, and guys, I'm going to talk about this in a minute, but I was finding the Dallas-Fort Worth rating of 28.2 for the loss against the Panthers. That's the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The lowest numbers for an opener since 2009 for the opening game against the Buccaneers, where we had a 25.2. Yeah. 2009, I was at that game in Tampa. Yes, I was there at that game. I remember that. That was an opener. And we won.
I know a few of you guys out there were also there for that Panthers game, so if you were, my condolences.
But we won this game. They lost that one, unfortunately. Exactly. And that's the thing. Here's another report, guys. A lot of people talking about this all over the media, so it's not just Ari or myself or Fiancé or you guys. Basically, here's a wrap-up of what we spoke about earlier a little bit more. Jerry Jones knew what it would look like for him to sit next to Des Bryant in that concert. That's why it's an important thing, that Jay-Z, Beyonce thing. It doesn't matter. Des not coming back to Dallas. All that stuff is just BS, rumor crap. The truth is Jerry Jones knows what he's doing. Des Bryant knows what he's doing. He's ruffling feathers in the coaching staff. And so is Jerry Jones. He's doing it on purpose because he's sending a message to the Carrot. He's sending a message to the Linehan. Get your shit together. Are you out of here, baby? And maybe Des might be back. Des might get his ass back in here. It might go that route, guys. So it's definitely a subtle way to show you're unhappy with certain people in your organization. Maybe even his own son. I don't know. But he called Steven out too. And Jerry's even doing this after what he said about his own son.
Jerry's turning into that crazy old guy who just is done with everything. He has no craps anymore. He's rich. He's got money to literally wipe his butt with $100 bills. he gives no more crap.
There was three guys today, three guys that did not practice today. That was DeMarcus Tank Lawrence. He got a little injured in the game, a little groin pull, a little groin strain. They said his precautionary is a vet that he's going to play. He didn't practice today. All right. Randy Gregory still in concussion protocol. Probably not going to play on Sunday. Right now I'm just saying he's not going to probably play. We'll see what happens tomorrow. And Xavier Woods, free safety. You heard Ari talk about having two strong safeties back there playing the free and strong safety position. That's what's going to happen this week too, because he did not practice, and I think that and Travis Frederick of course did not practice, so we know Frederick's not going to play. Gregory's probably not playing. Xavier Woods is not playing probably, guys. So that leaves maybe one guy, Tank, we know Tank is going to play. Dak is going to play. Dak was taken off the injury report today. My point here being, is we still going to have that safety issue for at least another week. We wanted Xavier Woods back.
And they try to get cute and say, and I know
get him back week 2. I told you.
But everyone kept saying, they were saying back week 2. They actually said they expected him to come to practice later this week. It's later this week. There's only one more day. Left.
One more chance tomorrow.
And he's probably not coming back tomorrow.
So they asked Brian Broaddus, do you think he's going to play Sunday? Brian Broaddus said, quote, I don't.
And you're right. A safety who's coming back from an injury like that, who's only going to get half a day of practice, is sure as crap not playing in a game.
Yeah, and again, now we're going to talk about the Giants in a minute here, and I do want to say something about the Giants here, but before I continue, guys, and we're going to go a little longer because we had a 20, 30-minute good head start here with Ari Temkin, a little special. So we're staying on a little special longer, I guess, tonight. We're on 2 hours, guys, 2 hours for you guys, for Cowboy Nation, for the old Marion the Barbarian, guys. So Dak's got to improve. Come on, Dak.
I believe in you, Dak. I believe in you.
We're on a 2-hour mark, guys. Little friendly advertisement. Hit the like button.
Sub it up.
Subscribe to My Cowboys Family. Keep growing the family, guys. We're going to try to bring you this kind of content daily. We do it daily. We're going to keep doing it. And we're going to keep bringing you people. We're going to bring you a Giant fan probably and then the next day or so right here to discuss the game from their perspective. So we're going to bring you everything, guys, here on this channel, Cowboy Centric, but even LT and a lot of other fans from other teams like to watch this because we try to give it realistically to you. You know what I mean? So hit the like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow us on Twitter, jump in Discord. And guys, we appreciate your appreciation. Like the guys right now on the Donation Weekly leaderboard, Young Wilson, the champ. Thank you, brother.
Yes.
But Yumi, Mrs. Cowboys Abroad, and Mr. Cowboy Abroad, thank you. You guys are the rocking masters. You guys are the sponsor masters. And right now, the stream bosses. But Scorpio, 76688, is the leader right now in the Donation Weekly board right now with DJ Crown J. Guys, go sub up to Fifth Quarter Cowboys, who's right behind him, a little behind him. Stone Cold right behind DJ. Young Wilson tied for 4th with East Side Harold, who also made a drop today. Much love to you. And of course, like that, Scorpio for making the big drop, putting you in first place, brother. As you can see, the $20 Maher. Thank you, bro. I just wanted to give a big shout out to our extra special, sponsors to the channel who help us out. And of course, Ari Temkin, the first half hour. So guys, like we said earlier, we're going to try to get through most of the news. We might have to skip on some.
Yes.
But keep putting the quarters in, guys. We'll keep rolling as long as we can, all right?
No, I wanted to catch up with
a couple quick comments.
2 comments, yeah. Right. LT said, MCF, any thoughts on the Giants' new coach? What do you see in their offense?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. I will say this, guys, that Bortles, 2 plays in a row, had a very clean pocket. On back-to-back plays without Olivier Vernon, the Giants have pass rushing issues. So keep that in mind. That's going to help the Cowboys, hopefully, last a little longer. Dak should have a clean pocket, a little cleaner now than last week. Pat Shurmur said this, which is the Giants head coach, said this about DeMarcus Lawrence. Quote, the guy assigned to block him has to block him. You guys know who that guy's going to be? Our favorite guy it's going to be on Sunday. It's a fun Sunday night. Our favorite guy is going to be, I think his number 74, Eric Flowers. Yes, he's crap. He's the right tackle. He's going to get Tank.
I told Cowboys Abroad
They're going to be nervous. What happened?
I told Cowboys Abroad earlier in the stream, he said, what's the matchup you're looking forward to the most? He said, he was saying Zeke against their linebackers. I said that it was going to be Zeke against their 7. I said it was our defensive line against Flowers. That's a matchup I'm waiting for.
Well, it's going to be interesting because it's definitely, I think it's all these matchups. But also you got Zeke saying, quote, I think, honestly, Saquon was the best player in the draft. So I'm just going to do a little Giant stuff here. Olivier Vernon spoke today and shed no new light on his playing status. Guys, he's on the injury report, did not practice again. So his lack of practice yesterday wasn't a good sign for week 2. Vernon continues to refer all questions about his injury to head coach Pat Shurmur. Janoris Jenkins said, and I'm going to try to get to his quote because Janoris Jenkins, the safety of the Giants. He's a good player, but here's what he said. Quote, if we put the ball in Dak's hands, I think we have a better shot at winning. And I'll read a longer quote later, which he referred to, stopping Zeke from having opportunities. He's right. Dak was asked about that quote, and Dak straight up just looked at the challenges without hesitation, says, challenge accepted, and just kind of kept going next, basically.
Good.
Now, that's great, but I want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see the act. I don't want to hear the act. I want to see the performance.
But that's the point. He didn't do anything more than just accept a challenge and keep it moving. So Dak, go out there and prove it.
Prove it, Dak. And coaches, help his ass. Eli Manning said this about DeMarcus Lawrence. Quote, and that's mouth breather, Eli Manning said this about DeMarcus Lawrence. Quote, we just have to know where he is. We got to mix up protections, mix up drops, mix up the point of where we're throwing from, so we're not just always sitting there in the same spot every time trying to get different ways to slow him down. Yeah, Eli, and you're going to have trouble. Let me see here. Hold on a second, guys. As I said, not practicing today. Randy Gregory, Xavier Woods, and Travis Frederick. And I'll tell you about Tank, but those three guys aren't going to play, but Tank will. Hall of Fame update, guys. Finalists on our Hall of Fame. Some of the finalists, some Cowboy names. Jimmy Johnson, finalist. Get in there, baby. You know you get it. Darren Woodson, number 28. Cowboys Abroad, represent him.
Rocking it out.
Woodson's making it this time. I'm telling you, 2019 is his year. Woodson got to get in there. Jay Novacek probably won't make it, but we love Jay Novacek, number 84. Bill Bates, number 40. Shit, he's one of the best special teams guys and a hard-hitting safety from the old days. I don't know if he'll make it yet, but all right.
Yeah,
he's in the loop.
Bubble players.
Yeah, you got Moose. He won't make it. He will not make it, but just being mentioned is fantastic. That's a great list, guys, of Cowboys. Jimmy Johnson. We already have the triplets in there. We got Jimmy Johnson, Darren Woodson, Jay Novacek, Bill Bates, Moose Johnson, Daryl Moose Johnson. I like the list. Congrats to all of them to be on the finalists.
Kind of have to make it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I have to see the rest of the guys too.
I agree.
But, I mean, those two players right there, undeniably.
Yeah, I agree.
Part
and then
of the history of football, the nation, reality.
Yeah, looking at the Giants and Cowboys injury reports, the Marcus Lawrence, Giants receiver Sterling Shepard, both of them were upgraded to full participation today, even though he kind of still on the sideline and didn't practice too much. Tank, full participation according to the coaches. So, guys, we're in great. Everybody's full. The only person that was limited was even DeTone Jones was limited today, and he might even see a little action today. I still think he's going to be inactive, but DeTone Jones, number 56, is going to get some inside play in there, guys. Daniel Ross played great last week for him. Janoris Jenkins, even though Sterling Shepard, who's the receiver, got added on to the Giants injury report, taken off the injury report, like Dak, like Tank, a new guy was added on there, and that was Janoris Jenkins. And again, he was out dealing with family issues. I'm going to tell you what happened with him. I don't know what's going on. It doesn't sound good, guys. So Janoris Jenkins left practice to deal with a family issue. Olivier Vernon, offensive outside linebacker and pass rushing guy. He's gonna give us trouble if he plays, but he probably won't play, guys. He did not practice. He rode the bike and worked with the trainer on the sideline, but the word is he's not going to play. So that's a big hit for the Giants. A visibly distraught Janoris Jenkins left practice very early today as what the team described as, quote, a family situation. Head coach Pat Shurmur consoled him before he left. So our condolences and whatever happened, we're hoping, it's obviously something major. It's obviously in his head, and obviously it's going to be something that might stop him from playing. I just hope he's okay. I'd rather have him playing and he's okay and everything's okay with his family, whatever happened. Obviously a human's a human first, but he just made a quote. He's gonna be out there and locking, and he's gonna challenge. Dak. Dak said challenge accepted, and then this happened. It's a sad situation for him there. During practice today, Rico Gathers, Tyron Smith, out there working on blocking drills. Yes, good. Rico, active, baby. Get him active out there. That's step one for the coaches to show me a little bit. I'll give you your first gold star coaching staff if you can take the baby step of putting Rico on your active 46. Do that for me, and that's this kind of smile. That's what you'll get from me. I'm gonna let fiance read about Maher and all this stuff here. Maher. I want you to say this about the Cowboys and the empty set. that like to go empty set a lot of the times with Zeke as the slot or wide out receiver. They did that a couple times, even though Zeke didn't really run the route that aggressively. In his career, Zeke has just 4 catches for 10 yards when he's lined up as a receiver. Does that scare anybody? 4 catches for 10 yards when he's lined up as a receiver. Whether they tell you they're going to use Zeke or not in this system, Linehan cannot do it. It's been proven, at least not yet. I'm gonna talk about here. DeMarcus Lawrence is growing, was a full participant in his practice today, so guys, no worries about him. It's just precautionary. Did not practice yesterday. DeTone Jones is limited in practice, but he was in there practicing for the first time since he injured his knee in the preseason. So DeTone Jones, good job. I wanted to say something about this. Think about this when it comes to the Carrot. We talked about Carrot, right? And his coaching and maybe taking over the offensive play calling. Listen to this, guys. Listen to this. The NFL passing yards rank from 2017 to 2007 to 2017. All right. Play caller was Jason Garrett from 2007 to 2012. And where we ranked when it came from NFL passing yards, we ranked in 2007. We ranked 4th. We ranked 9th the year after. We ranked 6th the year after that. 6th after that. In 2011, we ranked 7th. 2012, we ranked 3rd with Jason Garrett as the offensive play caller and head coach, but offensive play caller. Now, and he was with us as a play caller specialist under Wade. What's his name?
Oh my God, no! You can't put me
Not
on
Wade
the spot
Wilson.
like this.
He went at Seward. He's defensive the coordinator that won with Denver. Anyways, he was I know you're not. But the thing is that's what Garrett was under him, and he was the play caller. So that's why it goes back to 2007, in case you were wondering. So he's a top 10 play caller. Garrett. He's not a top 10 head coach. He's a top 10 play caller. Can't be worse than Linehan, at least not with this team. We don't know how Garrett's going to do with this team, with Dak at the helm. We don't know, but we know with Romo what he did, and he did well. Then in 2013, Bill Callahan took over as our offensive coordinator, offensive play caller. And we ranked 14th. Now we dropped a little bit out with Romo. Yes, with Romo, a healthy Romo. Guys, if you look back at those 2007, 2012, when we were top 10 in passing yards for a quarterback, Romo missed 3 games in 2009. In 2010, Romo misses most of the season. 2013 and 2013 and 14, Romo basically plays all but 1 game in each season. So he plays a lot. And we dropped in passing yards. When Garrett was not coaching, the offensive coordinator, so to speak, I guess you'd say more the offensive play caller. Play calling duties. So Bill Callahan dropped us from Garrett to Callahan. We dropped to 14th. This is with a healthy Romo, and we had unhealthy Romo in years with Garrett. And then when Linehan jumped on board 5 years ago in 2014, Linehan, we went from 14th with Callahan, with Linehan, to 16th in 2014. 2015, we dropped to 27th in passing yards. In 2016, we dropped to 23rd in passing yards, and we went up to 23rd. Dak did better than Romo. And then 2017, he went up to 26th. So again, down to 26th in passing yards. My point is that the play calling by Bill Callahan was middle of the road. The play calling by Scott Linehan with anybody but Romo, with Romo was middle of the road. With anybody but Romo was under subpar, very subpar. But when you look at Jason Garrett with Romo, it worked. It worked at least with offensive yards. We didn't have the defense, but it worked with offensive yards. We were top 10 every year. The Garrett was the offensive coordinator. So maybe the best move is getting the Garrett to make the offensive play calls. I'm pushing for that, guys, because it can't be worse than what we've been seeing with the Linehan. So again, guys, Prescott was a full participant in practice, even though he suffered that ankle injury. He said, "quote Adrenaline was going. I didn't feel it, but I am good." So it was that last play where it really accentuated that injury.
I know it just sucks because again, I just get that little flashback of Jonathan Cooper getting hurt. Right at the end of the game.
Yeah, I know.
Glad that Dak is okay.
And when you guys talk about the Giants, I want to try to keep with the Giants. I'm going to let Fiance finish up the quotes and some NFL news. But Marinelli our Rod Marinelli, the defensive coordinator, said to Saquon about Saquon, quote, he's a home run threat. He's got the ability to get those jump cuts. He'll see a hole and he'll break out. If you don't have the edges to the defense set or your corners aren't replacing correctly, this guy will get to the house on you. So, again, we don't want to – Cam kind of did it a couple times on us. We cannot let that happen with Saquon. We keep him in control and contained. And we keep the three cover, the cover three man press. And I think we get to Eli, we're gonna have them looking for answers the whole game. When a reporter asked Jerry Jones, reporter said to Dak about Jerry Jones wants you to run more. Dak said, quote, he hasn't told me that, end quote. I just thought that was kind of interesting quote from Dak. Take a jab at the media, trying to get some stuff started up there.
Again, it just feels like this two little kids like, well, Dak needs to run more. Well, he didn't tell me that. Like,
yeah, I know. The Giants defensive coordinator James Betcher, who was with Arizona last year, said this about Dak Prescott. Quote, I experienced it last year when we played them. He got out of the pocket twice on us, and he hurt us getting out of the pocket. The pass rush is important, but controlled rush is just as important with Dak, which means Dak can get out of the pocket. He's going to hurt you. Giants Odell Beckham Jr. said this, quote, it's going to be a fun game. I'm looking forward to being back in Dallas. It's Sunday night and all those things. It's the Cowboys. It's Jerry's world, all that. But it's like you've been there before. Wherever we're at, I'm excited about playing. So he's extra revved up for the Cowboys. Bring it on. Saquon said this about playing in at&t Stadium, quote, well, I can't because my phone just died. So, Fiance, take a couple of questions and you'll take the rest of this.
Let's go ahead and catch up. So, LT said, getting the carrot to make offensive play calls. Said he quoted you. MCF, that's on the record.
All right. So, and you also have the rest of that. Don't take it out of context. It was also ... It can't be worse than Scott Linehan.
So
those are facts.
We're having a little food discussion here in the chat. I've never had In-N-Out. When we were in Dallas for the draft, we did go to Whataburger, but I was sick, so I couldn't eat. And I'm not a burger person anyway, so I don't know if I would actually eat In-N-Out or Whataburger. And I gotta say, I was not very impressed with Whataburger. I mean, I had two little fries and just, I don't know. But In-N-Out, obviously, we'll have to go to the West Coast at some point.
I've hit the In-N-Out. It's pretty. I'd say they're about similar. I mean, it was all right. They're both all right.
Yes, but I gotta say, where it's at, and we all know because we were talking about this, there's always 20 cars in the stupid line no matter when you go.
Steak and Shake?
No. Chick-fil-A.
Steak and Shake, baby.
Chick-fil-A.
Steak and Shake.
Chick-fil-A.
Steak and Shake.
Chick-fil-A.
There you go. A new controversy. Chick-fil-A or Steak and Shake? I say steak to the shake, baby.
No.
Best shakes.
The steaks.
Best steaks.
Oh, you see, Raptor Charge is going to win it, and you're going to change your answer to this. Five Guys.
Oh, that's right. Thank you.
You have a big soft spot for
Don't
Five
like
Guys.
the name. If you want to be a little
Five
homophobic,
Guys, surprise.
But
you got to get Five Guys.
Well, no, I agree. Five Guys has the
I'm
best
good at one thing.
cheeseburgers. How's that?
No, I'm not. And again, I just.
Oh, we're almost at the end of this. Good.
I don't know. Never been a big fan. But Justin also had a question. Are we gonna win the game this weekend?
Yes, we are gonna win the game, and I'm gonna go into that at the end of this. But I want to get to the end of these, and I just want to talk about Scott Linehan so much.
DJ Crown J with the controversy. He said, I had In-N-Out in Vegas.
Woo.
Overrated.
Again, they were about the same as Whataburger. Is that Whataburger?
Yeah.
People say this. It sounds like it's Whataburger.
Okay,
What a burger? It sounds like the same Whataburger.
Okay,
sometimes.
well, we're not from Texas. We can only say it the way we say. Oh, DJ's with you though. Steak and Shake all day.
Yeah.
So LT said, fiance in Texas, you eat barbecue and papadoo.
See, I'm not a big barbecue guy. I don't know about you, baby.
I'm down for some pulled pork, but
where are we going with this conversation?
With food, but
Bub and me. He's the one talking about the front office. I agree, man. We're in trouble.
I'm just glad I live in a place that has readily easy access to plátanos because let me tell you, I lived in Georgia
Florida,
for a bit,
guys.
and those are not a fun time.
thing.
So let's go ahead, roll it out.
Let me go back to Saquon because there's a lot of stuff here I want to say, but Saquon Barkley, guys, on playing in at&t Stadium, he said, quote, I'm excited to go back to the place where I was drafted. He was drafted right there. We were there. Yeah. He was the second overall pick. That was the first time I've ever been to Dallas. That's the first time for you.
There you go, yeah.
To be able to
Saquon and I are Dallas buddies.
To be able to go back there and be able to start off and try to get a win in the NFC East, that would be definitely huge. Well, guess what? Let me fix my glasses. You're not getting the win. You're not getting the victory, Saquon. You were number 2 overall. You're going to come in second place this week.
You're going to be 0-2 when we're done with you.
Let me just see one thing real quick. I think that...
Yeah, so let me see. James Rose said Steak and Shake is good. Not a fast food person. Incognito said best food in the USA is in Louisiana. So, it's such a subjective thing because, again, for me, I love some Hispanic food. Not all of it. We're actually both pretty picky overall. Yeah,
we are picky. That's why we're matchmaking.
But so for me, it just anywhere that I can have easy access to like that home comfort Dominican food that I always, that's the thing.
¿Qué son plátanos?
So plantains, guys. Plantains, plátanos, Dominican. So Caribbean. I got. You gotta have that. I'll put lime on everything.
We did our DNA. So probably what we are right here on this screen right here, both of us here, is probably what all you guys are. This is as multicultural as you can get, guys, and everything. So this is what it's about. This is what a true family is. It's my Cowboys family from all over the world. We're right here, guys, and rooting on this star. In the end, that's what it's about.
And still here with you guys after almost 2.5 hours here. So let's go ahead, baby.
No more quarters. No more quarters. All right. Listen, Scott Linehan on Troy Aikman's criticism. He's basically saying Linehan said, quote, "It's our job to show him that we have some stuff that he'll be impressed with." I'll believe it when I see it. You've said it multiple years, and we haven't seen it.
And again, interesting how Garrett said one thing, Linehan says another. Right?
Today, and again, one of our main things we're talking about today, and this is 2.5 hours into it, we finally get to it, but this is why I wanted to save it for the real fans sticking it out. Our 45 and everybody in here watching, hit that like button, subscribe, and the whole deal. Because this is what it's about, guys. What Linehan said today about the performance. What was the excuses that were being passed around the star from Linehan today? And let's start talking about it, guys. He was asked about Aikman. Let's start with Aikman's comments. He was asked about that. He said, quote, "People have their own..." This is what Linehan said about Aikman. Quote, "People have their own opinions. It's hard to be super creative when you're having lost yardage plays, to be honest with you." So already he's blaming Dak. And the mistakes on the offensive line. He's blaming the player execution, which to an extent he's partially right there. He's right about that part. Then he goes, "But I thought we had some really good stuff for the game that we couldn't use." But he's entitled to whatever opinion he has about that. It's our job to go out and show him that we have some stuff that maybe he'll be impressed with. So it's not about impressing Aikman. It's about being impressive. That's what I see it as. I don't care about impressing who.
You're impressive. You impress. And Troy Aikman to a little 3-year-old.
And he knows. Linehan's been, obviously he's been around long enough to know about taking criticism because he's taken a heap load of it in his career.
And he knows we don't look impressive right
now. He said, quote, "Certainly if an offense doesn't put up a lot of points, there's going to be criticism towards how we played. We accept that and take on the challenge that we're going to go out and play much better next game." But again, he left Dak out there to fend for himself for a couple of days till he get his thoughts together on Thursday, and now speaks it nice and measured to the media. I don't like that. That's not a coach that I respect. And I think a lot of Cowboys, whether you believe it or not, inside they won't say it outside, which is good. I want to keep it in house, but inside, I guarantee you, in some of their heads and hearts, they don't trust or believe in Marinell and in Linehan, and some of them in Garrett. They don't believe in him either. So Stephen Jones said this, quote, "I just think at the end of the day, anybody can play armchair quarterback and point fingers after the fact. I do think we need to figure out how to get in the rhythm when you see us use 6 receivers and make sure everyone's in there for what they do best. I think that's a little bit of a work in progress." So already Stephen Jones making that comment. Yeah, of all people to money more than quarterback, Troy Aikman's probably the best one to do that. So don't criticize him there. Stephen Jones, you're still too young to remember those days. Maybe not too young, but you know what I mean. But also, he's kind of taking a hit a little bit on the coaching because he's saying that when you have to get a rhythm in there, you have 6 receivers. So that's Dak and the receivers got to get in rhythm. But he's still saying it's a work in progress because you got to figure out how to get them in there to do what they do best. I include Dak in that. To get Dak to do what he does best, you got to get the right receivers in there for him. That's part of being not Scott Linehan friendly. That's a part of being, if you want to call it Dak, that stupid ass quote, Dak friendly, then that's part of it. Make it Dak strength, not Dak, not Scott Linehan stubbornness, and that's what is hurting us. So again, Stephen Jones continued after saying that. He said, quote, "But I think it's unfair right now to point fingers at play calling, whether it's Dak Prescott or whether it's our receivers. I just think we got to do a better job overall of executing, and I think that it will come together. Now, even though he's taking a little shot here and shot there, even at Dak, even at Linehan a little bit more at Dak than at anybody else, he's still putting it on Dak, and if Dak gets better, then he'll improve. We'll see. But I think that the coaches have to do better jobs of playing to his strengths and helping him succeed. Simple as that. Now, Linehan said this about Dak Prescott's demeanor. Quote, he's twice as determined this week. He's working twice as hard this week. The guy is also here early and staying late and getting himself ready to play in the game. Get the last game behind him and get ready to play the next one. Very good, Dak. We need to see it from Dak, and we need to see it from Scott Linehan. Don't just look past the last game. Look at what you did wrong in your play calling and fix that crap. And Dak, fix your crap. Then we'll see. Let me see here. Dak said he missed a bunch of plays. Fiance's going to tell you about that in a minute. Scott Linehan said this about Dak Prescott in the season opener. Quote, I mean, he missed some throws. I'm not saying he threw it perfect, but I don't know if every quarterback threw it perfect on opening day. Now, we saw it with Flacco. We saw it with a lot of these quarterbacks that are really good. Drew Brees, a lot of these quarterbacks had bad days. Still not an excuse for Dak, and still not an excuse for Linehan. Now, if you want to say they still have to get cohesiveness and get in sync with each other and get in with these new players and the new systems, and okay, well, we better see an improvement then and soon, because you're an NFL professional team and you had your preseason ready to play around, and now you're figuring it out. These other teams are going to figure it out, but are we going? Do you have faith in this offensive coaching staff and head coaching staff? Do you have faith in the offensive coordinator and head coach to fix it and figure it out? Have they ever? No. They haven't done it in game. They haven't done it in season. They just had the right players to outdo their coaching. And I don't know if they're going to do it this year. I don't know if we have the talent with what they're throwing out to these players and throwing them into the fire in certain situations. I don't know if we're going to have the talent to do it this year, to outdo the coaching. We'll see. That's why they play the games.
That's right.
Scott Linehan said that about the preseason open, that he missed some throws and they got it perfected. But again, other quarterbacks didn't have good days either. Linehan said Thursday that he wanted to look at the tape before he talked about the Carolina game. That's why he slid out. He slithered out. And that's why he said he did not comment on Sunday. He watched the tape and he spoke about his thoughts. As I just said, he said, quote, just like everyone else, I was not really fired up about how we performed, and I wanted to look at the tape so I can give you a real educated answer. Sounds like some people we know. To a lot of the questions that are going to come. Now, he's a coach. He didn't even know the answers. But we know, I think it's almost like looking at it for answers, but also looking at it for excuses to cover his ass. Because some of it's on the play calls and what he put out there. He also said, quote, bad execution, especially on first and second down. We've been a good first down team over the last 3 or 4 years. That's been one thing we've always done because we've been able to run it. We ran 15 times. Remember that. And he had 80-something yards, right? 70-something yards, 80-something yards. And then he continued, you're in manageable situations when you run on first down and have success. Between penalties and we had some sacks that lost yardage, that's the offensive line, I think we probably had the more second and longs and third and longs that I can ever remember, probably since I've been here in Dallas. After looking at that, it really destroyed our rhythm, and we spent the whole game trying to get back on track. So, what he's saying is this. I'm going to decipher what Linehan said. He's saying that the fault is eventually on Dak, but it started off with the discipline mistakes, with the player execution mistakes, whether by penalties or missed assignments on blocks, which starts with Looney and with La'el Collins and other guys and Connor Williams and with Looney's communication and the other guys missed blocks, and that had us having to come back constantly and put us out of whack and out of rhythm and playing from second and long, third and long. So.
Yeah, no, Bubba Me makes a good point too. Everyone's blaming each other on social media. It just goes to show that no one wants to take responsibility for it, but everyone's real quick to point the finger. So
I agree. So that's pretty much all of what Linehan said. I just wanted it to come from me. I'm going to let Fiancé finish it up because she has a lot of info, about a good 10 quotes that are relevant to this game and to what we're going to see for this upcoming. So guys,
yes, but with
Fiancé,
this late night hour, we're going to try to rock it out as quickly as
and then after that, it's going to be some important football news here as well. Oh, yeah, you got it. There you go.
Yeah.
So Fiance, Rocket, I have to take a quick bathroom break. But guys, hit the like, subscribe, notification bell. If you're watching the replay, check out the Artie Temkin. That was classic. Great stuff. He'll be back on again. We'd love to have him back. He said he wants to be back on. I think we got a good situation with Ari. Ari is inside of all the stuff when it comes to the Cowboys on 105.2 The Fan. We're gonna have all the links below in the description. Check him out, guys, and sub up to all his stuff. He's on there every day. He's on Phantom. So watch him through his Facebook page, and he also has it on YouTube. So we're on there rocking it all the time. So yes. Fiance, Rocket from the
Ezekiel Elliott.
Is that the first? Oh, okay, yeah, that's the first
So Ezekiel Elliott playing at at&t Stadium. He said, "Quote: It's a beautiful stadium. But we get to get in front of more of our fans. Our fans always do a great job traveling, but getting in front of all of them in Dallas, just that energy is different. There is nothing like it." So, unfortunately, the travel fans on the road are a lot more vocal.
And that
AT&T, the fans are lackluster. They're sitting on their hands.
Guys,
they're quiet. They're not cheering. They're not loud.
I've been to the old stadium, and it was low. I mean, in our area, it was loud.
Low energy.
Yeah, it was low energy. We need the Cowboy fans in Dallas to get loud and prouder. You got to get louder. The guys that get loud are the ones in the standing room. The guys that get loud are the ones that drive or fly to the games in other cities and wait 4 years to see their team. That's why we're louder on the road. No excuse. You got that. If I see this star and it's anywhere, if it's 2 hours from me, I'm gonna go to a lot of games. Unless Jerry Jones is screwing us. That's why we're banning you, Jerry Jones.
LT said, would you be open to doing a show with the All-22? I'm definitely open to it, but for right now, I just don't see, we have a lot going on between, everything else. Again, it's not something that we're not thinking of doing. It's just something that's not really on the table now. And honestly, guys, there's so many guys out there who do it as well already that, again, we do it ourselves.
What I think
don't get us wrong.
What I think that you should do.
We don't
what I think
necessarily do it here with you guys.
We don't have really the time to do it, and that's not our thing. And again, we leave that to the law nations and the botches and all that stuff. But what I'm gonna say is this. They shouldn't have three guys, Okoye, Law, and Vach, that all agree on the same agenda, let's say. If anything at all, you should have at least somebody who's going to look at it from a different perspective, another one or two guys. Not everybody saying the same thing, because then you could really have a good debate. Not everybody saying, you're right, because that's boring. So I think if you have somebody giving you, well, what about this, and what about that? Asking questions like that, like if I was on that little group, I would definitely not call out in a bad way. I'm saying in a discussion type of way. Say, well, what about that guy? Yes, he's covering a man on Blake Jarwin, but he's going to drop back and intercept Dak if he throws it to Allen Hurns on the out. They didn't say that on their 22. They had a pause for a half a second, for a millisecond. You see an opening that maybe he gets it through, and they discount the cornerback that's underneath man zone kind of coverage. I just think there's some fallacies when you have everybody that agrees. So let's get some different views, and that'll be a little more intriguing.
And that's honestly one of the really, really cool things about what we do here at MCF, because obviously you guys out there do not agree with us on everything. Yeah. Absolutely not. Yeah. You guys
don't agree with each other.
That's the point. Exactly.
And on the round table, that's what we do. I mean, it's not planned at all. We sometimes all agree. But we all don't.
You guys
most of the time don't.
Those times we don't.
It gets heated, but we love each other. This is Cowboy Nation, guys.
Exactly. And we all just want the same thing.
So hit that like.
Now, real quick, let me see. Are you good to go?
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
sorry. Let me see. There we go. Yeah, sorry. So Maher said he's not Maher. Oh my God, I don't know, guys. I'm just saying it how I say it. Sorry, dude. Make a kick, and then I'll say your name right. Maher isn't making any changes to his routine after one missed field goal. He said he's not. He's preparing just like he did the first week. He did only get one opportunity, but he said, quote, "I'm excited for another opportunity for myself because I just don't like the taste that's in my mouth right now. That's the biggest thing for me, to get back out there and start a new streak. Hopefully a winning streak." He said that he doesn't have any superstitions. He doesn't care about specific pair of cleats or whatever, because Dan Bailey was known to kick on Sunday in the same Nikes he's been wearing since his rookie season. So he still kicking strong. So he said, "I'm on my third different pair of cleats since camp started. As long as they're comfortable. I've never known a shoe to make a kick, I guess, is my thought process behind that. What happened to the first two pairs? They got dirty," he said. So I don't know if that's a good reason to just get rid of your cleats, because if something's dirty, you clean it.
Well, at least he's logical. I like the logic. But I like making field goals better.
I like the logic, but again, again, when it comes to those little superstitions, I see it as less of it's a superstitious thing that I have to do or else this and that, and more of this is a ritual that I perform to get myself in game time ready mode. Because every player, they all warm up, they do their warm-ups or whatever, but whatever mentally they have to do to get themselves okay, as long as it's not hurting anyone, I don't give a crap.
I just want to say real quick,
be good.
Bub and me, Incognito, LT, Broken Nerd, Justin Quarles, Game Time 3D, 5-star, LT, of course. I said you're the Eagle fan. Listen, I love what you guys. I'm just looking at what you guys are saying. Much love. Keep it going. And Fiance is going to keep going. Guys, hit the like, subscribe, and listen. We got Sean Lee on the board right now here with Yumi. Yumi running the stream.
But a former Kyle Wilbur takes it away. So.
Kyle Wilbur takes it.
Now, Maher said, I'm comfortable with where I am. I'm comfortable with how I'm kicking, how I'm performing. So for me to focus on what are the fans going to think, what's the media going to ask, it'd be a bit of wasted energy. I just try to do during the week what I can to be prepared. And again,
well, he's going to have more chances.
He's our kicker. He's got to make it. So
he's going to have more chances. And we'll take some predictions on Friday tomorrow. We're going to take the predictions, guys, so get ready.
Yeah, so now Dak had this to say on the offensive problems. Quote, when we have the people we have, the guys that like to work and want to come in, want to know exactly what I'm thinking when I'm throwing the ball, you're not quite frustrated anymore. You're optimistic about what you're going to be.
Interesting.
So
again,
so then is he implying that he had guys like, I'm assuming Dez, right? That feels like a shot at Dez.
Not really. I see that more as being a kind of it's not really a shot. I think I see it more as being like
just a general thing.
Honestly, I'm gonna say it's more. Of course you got your new receivers and you had little time working out with them, all that. But I think the bigger issue, it just sticks out of my mind, is the tight ends. I think he's still trying to get in tune because remember he never really practiced. Who did he practice with?
Is definitely a guy who comes in.
Who did he practice with? Witten was the only guy he really practiced with, Dak. In his rookie year.
Right.
I mean, he didn't practice his Swaim too much. Maybe a little bit in the rookie year, but they were both kind of first. It was the second year for Swaim. So you had Dak with Swaim a little bit, and then he was the starter. So you never really got to see Swaim as much, at least throwing the ball to him. It was Witten. And then everybody else, Blake Jarwin, Rico. I mean, there's no real connection with any of these guys. Oh, Dalton Schultz is a rookie. So I'm just saying, when you look at it all in all, I think that Dak is implying, he might never say it. This is the opinion part. My opinion is he's talking about the tight ends.
I know, and I see it. I mean, it feels like, how is it not a shot at Dez? So, again, guys, and this is where the opinion part comes in.
Because Dez and him are still cool.
I guess I know. So Dak said on the Sunday's loss to Carolina, quote, I missed a lot of plays. I got to play better, and that's what this week is about. I'm fortunate enough to have 15 more games to do that. So, and Dak said,
you got one game.
So Dak was asked how he deals with weeks like this. He said, things I've been through in my life. It's just part of it. You just keep battling and keep your head
And again,
forward.
he lost his mom with cancer.
Exactly. Honestly,
he got bashed in the head with a bottle.
At the end of the day, for him, I'm sure nothing quite compares to that.
He's going to be able to bounce back, but the coaches got to help him. They gotta help him.
We can't just expect that just because he can bounce back, like it's
going
to be easy,
right.
or that he's
going
to need help, or he's going to need
right.
support. Because again, Dak is, if some of you guys talking about how Aaron Rodgers isn't necessarily a leader. Like he's a good quarterback, but he's not necessarily a leader.
Right.
Yeah, but he's not.
I agree with the saying.
And so, and Dak, Dak is definitely more. I don't want to say the opposite, but he definitely, like, as far as the leadership qualities, this kid came in there and really,
he takes over.
Yeah,
right.
he does. He has those types of leadership qualities, and definitely in a way where it doesn't make you feel like he thinks lesser of you or he thinks he's above you for the most part. Anyway, just my personal thoughts. So now,
I agree, LT, to an extent.
So now let's take an overall look. So in 2009, guys, Romo missed 3 games. In 2010, Romo missed most of the season. In 2013, 2014. Oh, did you say this?
Yeah, I was about to play. Basically, Jason Garrett was the. I don't know if you might have missed it because I had you on the phone, but he was the play caller from 2007. This was with Wade Phillips. That's the guy. Wade Phillips was the coach. He was the assistant coach, basically. But he was the play caller for Wade Phillips. We were 4th, 9th, 6th, 7th, and 3rd with him as the play caller / eventual head coach. Then when Bill Callahan took over, 2013, we dropped to 14th as the play caller. And when it came to offensive passing yards, and then with Scott Linehan as the play caller, we dropped. Not only did we stay at the average point in 2014,
we've only gotten worse since then.
We've gotten worse when we had the hurt Romo, when we had Dak, and when we had Dak. We were 27th with hurt Romo. We were 16th first with a good Romo. We were 16th. We were still average.
Then, of course, the year of the long night, 2015, we were 27th.
With multiple quarterbacks.
In 2016, we were 23rd.
That was
with
Dak.
all the things going right. In 2017, we were 26th.
What's the point? The point is, Carrot would give us a better chance to do better in the passing game specifically than Linehan. At this point. Maybe he's worse. I don't know. But we got to see something, right? I don't know. That's
now, Dak was asked if he's been hearing any of the criticisms that are out there against him.
He's hearing it.
He said no. He said, quote, "Not to offend any of you. I haven't read any of your papers or blogs or anything like that. No tweets, none of it."
But he's heard it. He knows it.
He figures it's out there after the way he played. He's just not keeping up with it.
So he knows it. But much
Quote,
respect.
I missed a lot of plays. I read that
So
one.
much respect.
Said,
He's doing what he's supposed to do, though.
He said, yeah, I mean, every now and then, obviously, I guess I get on Instagram or something like that. But for the most part, I'm off of it. It's not helping me as a player. It's not helping me as a person. There's no point really dealing with it. And after the shenanigans with your ex-lady friend, definitely stay off the gram. So, Rod Marinelli also smiled and asked, what? Oh, you're reading the...
No, I was just saying you said about get off the Instagram.
So Marinelli smiled when asked how Sean Lee responded this week to the missed tackles against Carolina. I'm going to ask you this one. How do you think he did? He's prideful. He's our leader. He had a heck of a week of practice. He's going to be ready to play. So
Sean Lee is somebody I know is going to be ready.
Because you know what? He takes it personal. When this stuff happens, he does. So now G-Wiz said if Dallas doesn't win Sunday's game, it's going to be ugly in Jerry's world. Dallas, we want winners. We don't have 15 more games to improve. We want wins, and we want them now.
Damn right.
We want them yesterday.
Thank you, G-Wiz. There's no G-Wiz about that comment.
So, and Sean Lee talking about fellow Penn State graduate Saquon Barkley. Actually, I'm not sure if he graduated. But he said, quote, he had an incredible career there, very, very talented. He can do everything.
And they have to. He's the key for these linebackers. And then on blitzes, I think that's where the keys are going to lie in. I mean, there's still some NFL stuff that has to be spoken about, guys. The AFC guys. Go ahead, baby. This is actually important to the Cowboys.
The real MVP is the AFC because they kicked some NFC ass.
Out of four games.
They won 3.
They won 3. 75%. And guys, believe it or not, every game matters. That's why we talk about you got to rooting for the Falcons.
Wait till the end of the season when it's going to come down to the difference. Because remember, this year we were this close to beating us or Seattle.
But we have to win our games.
Yeah, exactly. Number one, it's up to us.
It might come down to us and Carolina.
With a little hope
they're going to win
friends,
They're going to win the tiebreaker. But you always need help from your friends, always.
So
and again, if you're looking at that, 75% of the time. And then you read that right there. They almost got swept. Which every time the NFC loses to the AFC, it helps the Cowboys. So
there were 4 matchups. Let me see. Jacksonville beat the Giants.
Boom.
Denver beat Seattle. And the Jets beat Detroit. Let's not talk about that because Stafford is my fantasy quarterback, and obviously that's
what's a key I just realized about that is that there's an NFC East team in there. Obviously, the Giants. That's even better. That's a double whammy. And you got 2 other teams, Seattle. And who's the other one? The Lions that are playoff.
Now,
they talk about being in the playoffs.
What's the team that won?
They lost.
Oh,
the Jets.
was it
beat
the
Detroit.
Redskins because they beat?
No, they beat the Cardinals.
Oh yeah. That's
so
right.
No.
So what's the NFC team that won?
Oh, the NFC team that won. That beat.
Because Jacksonville beat the Giants.
The Rams beat the Raiders.
Oh.
So that's the other one. That was the latest game. Yeah.
All right. So there we go. So again, either way, it's not just NFC, but we got lucky that one of those, like you said, is the Giants NFC East. Number one obviously helps.
And all 3 of them are playoff type of preseason playoff type teams. Thought of. Detroit, Seattle, and the Giants. So all these teams are playoff type contenders that lost to the AFC. So it doesn't even if you lose to another NFC team, okay, so it's 6 of one or half dozen of the other. But when you lose to an AFC team, it's just a straight loss. It's just a straight.
Now Justin said, "I've always said not the best team wins the Super Bowl. Definitely top 5 teams win the Super Bowl. There's lots of luck and circumstance." And 5 Star said, Justin, it's a team that gets you on a roll, and like the Eagles-Minnesota game, it takes luck and a few plays, unless you're the Patriots and it takes cheating. Sorry, I had to throw that out there just for my sisters. So, guys, that pretty much wraps it up for the night. It's this crazy late night. I'm going to fly through the shout-outs here, so if you want to.
Yeah, but I have to say, this is important because Jihad Ward. You guys remember Jihad Ward? Yeah, number 51, we caught him. He got picked up by the Colts, and guess what? They had him in the practice squad. He got elevated to the 53-man roster for the Colts.
Good
So
for him.
they waived tight end Eric Swoop. So again,
we
Jahad
knew-
Ward
we
succeeding.
Knew he had the ability. It's just that we liked other guys a little better.
And real quick, guys, states with the most players on NFL opening day rosters, right here in our state of Florida, 211 players.
But you know what? With our football culture and the colleges
but
we
you'd
have
figure
here,
Texas would we had 211.
good point.
California is next with 185.
Wow, that I wasn't expecting.
Texas is third with 175.
Texas, you slipping?
Wow, and Georgia is fourth. I know Dallas Cowboy fan in Georgia used to be. Now he's Cowboy whatever he is. Now he's Georgia Sports Report garbage, flip flopping bandwagon fan. And
Who
now
comes after Georgia?
Georgia's 123 players. Ohio is fifth with 76 players.
But look at the drop off.
And then, after that goes 60, 59, 50, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and it doesn't matter after
but
that.
you're still telling me again. So 30 more players in Florida than California.
Yeah.
Only a difference of 10 between California and Texas. But then it's like
That's a whole. That's 22 that's a whole offense, defense, and special teams.
And think about it too. A lot of the players this year that are more high profile players in the sense of like you knew their names and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, one of those was Shaquem Griffin.
Yeah. No, exactly. And again, Diego Maestas, wasted trade.
Nets.
Correct. Listen, here's a little fiance.
Woo, looking crazy. You better scream loud. He's going to the game this weekend.
Be
Rock
loud
it out.
and get everybody in that
Yes.
stadium to be loud because it's known to be low. So we've got to get them loud. Listen, fiance hasn't seen this. So I want to see her impression. Hometowns, actual cities.
Yeah.
With most players on opening day NFL rosters, number one is 24 players from Miami. It's crazy, right? The South, guys, Florida.
Wow.
20 players
And
from
again, Miami is not the spot I would have
24.
picked. I would have
24
said
from
more,
Miami
yeah.
area. 20 from Houston. They're second. 16 from Fort Lauderdale. So something about that South Miami, South Florida.
I don't know. Maybe are we missing out? We need to leave our house more often. All this football's going on.
City of Cincinnati is fourth with 15 players. New Orleans is fifth with 14 players.
You see, again, New Orleans makes more sense.
Yeah.
Even Cincinnati.
San
makes a little
Diego
more
has
sense.
12 for 6. And then three cities tied for 7th. Detroit, Washington, D.C., and Orlando, Florida.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that.
11 players from our little Central Florida area here. 11 players were tied for 7th. I wanted that reaction from you.
There you go. Nice.
And then tied for 10th, 2 more, Mobile, Alabama, and Tampa with 10 each. So, again, Florida has Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, and Tampa. 4 out of the top 10 are from Florida. So we rock here in Florida with the
looking
most
crazy.
football talent.
Awesome. Diego Mesa said, I'll be at the Thanksgiving game. We better beat the Skins.
Ooh,
Yes.
better. That was those damn Washington, D.C.ers.
LT, yes. I definitely need a win, but I also need a new quarterback, apparently. And no fantasy talk there. So go
LT
ahead,
whipped
baby.
my ass. Much love to LT. He whipped me fair and square. He had 187 points. I don't think
Jesus,
I've had that ever in my life.
I was going to say, that's a crazy.
And on a 14-man roster,
Stay with
that's
this way.
big
He
games.
used up all those points now.
Yeah,
So.
you're gonna lose the rest of your game, bro. Now, hey, listen to this. Opening day rosters: the Browns had the youngest, the Raiders had the oldest. The Browns are number
Sounds
one.
about right.
The Browns had their average age is 25.19. The Bengals were second, 25.38. Vikings were third, 25.47. The Cowboys were fourth with 25.51.
So we're
basically,
not that young?
a half a percent, not even, not a fourth of a percent. A fourth of a percent difference between us and the Browns for the youngest team
so, yeah.
opening day rosters. And a switch here or there could put us over the top, literally, by a move here or move there. The oldest, the Raiders are the oldest, so 27.55 is their oldest. They're ranked as the oldest
the
average.
yeah.
Patriots second, Falcons third, Cardinals fourth, and Panthers fifth.
So, and you can kind of see a few similarities in some of the teams that we mentioned there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
There's
how
some
they have
veteranness
some,
though,
yeah,
in them,
just,
you know,
you can,
that keeps them above water in a sense. There was one rookie wide receiver, guys, who started on the NFL's opening weekend. One rookie wide receiver. Was it DJ Moore with Carolina? No. Was it who else was out there? The guy from Atlanta. What's his name? The one we were going to grab. What was his name? Everyone said we were going to get.
Oh.
Anyway.
Can't do this to me now.
Yeah.
Can't do
So,
this to me now.
anyways, one guy started, and it was not one of the 33 wide receivers that were drafted. It was not one of them. It was Vincent Smith, who started for the Houston Texans. He was the official starter for the Houston Texans on opening day. He was an undrafted college free agent from Division II Limestone College. He has a 4.36 speed. Deontay Thompson in the 40. Deontay Thompson has a 4.31 speed. Just want to just remind you guys about that. We shouldn't be using them on vanilla out patterns or button hooks where the defense is sitting on. We should be using them going and stretching the field with Deontay Thompson. Just throwing that little Cowboy relevance in there. The Packers may not find out about Aaron Rodgers' status until Saturday at the earliest, so they say. I think he's going to play. Vikings are practicing as if he's going to play. And that's going to be an interesting game to watch. But either way, I'll watch Cowboys first and foremost. Just throwing it out there for you guys. But again, Mike McCarthy, the head coach for the Packers, said that this it probably makes for a good headline. But he said, "quote This is no layup when it comes to about making the quarterback decision about playing him or allowing him to play or not, because he's going to play if he's allowed." Yeah. Similar situation. I think Rodgers is going to play. Similar situation happened in Pittsburgh. No practice for Big Ben, his elbow injury. Similar to yesterday, no practice, guys. But keep this in mind. They do this all the time. He'll play. And I'm sure his opponents are going to practice for him. Guys, a guy we were looking at to pick up, everyone said, let's pick up a one-tech defensive tackle, a space eater, Jonathan Hankins. He was picked up today and signed by the Indianapolis. Well, I'm sorry. He played with Indianapolis. He was signed by the Oakland Raiders today, guys, and John Gruden. So immediate pickup. They didn't waste any time. Got Jonathan Hankins. He's off the market, in case you're wondering. Now, another guy, linebacker Michael Kendricks. You guys remember him from Philly? Then was on All or Nothing. He was on Hard Knocks for the Browns. He was on there talking about financial stuff, and he's gonna go to jail in December probably. That's when his I think his trial is coming up for was it fraud or I don't know, just what is it?
Yeah.
It's like
it's
just
selling
illegal trading. That's what it was.
Trading, there we go.
So he was picked up today. Yes. Michael Kendricks, who was released by the Browns following the charges of insider trading, signed a one-year deal with the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle obviously is not.
No.
They're not going to waste time with him. They're going to put him in there as soon as they can. Maybe not this week, but maybe the next week. Get him familiar.
He's still allowed to play?
Yeah, he's not. It's still an investigation, so it's nothing's. Yeah, so he can still play.
Something about that doesn't add up, though.
I know, but he's expected to play against the Bears. Believe it or not, on Monday night. Yeah, this Monday night. Woo, interesting, right? Tonight's game, which I don't know if you can find the who won. I'm sorry, who won tonight's game?
Wasn't it the Bengals?
I don't know. Well, I don't know.
I mean, when I last checked, the Bengals were up.
It was still
by
closing
an
distance.
Amount.
No, it was close. It was close. It was still like half the game left at least, and it was like a 1 point. It was like a 4-point game. Ravens were in Cincinnati tonight playing.
Yeah, I think Bengals won 34-23.
So they got close, and then they pulled away at the end. Okay, so 34-23 was the final. Cincinnati Bengals, in my opinion, upset the Ravens, but Ravens might just suck too. Ravens in Cincinnati tonight, spot where this is before the game. Joe Flacco struggles. 9 career starts at Paul Brown Stadium. He has gone 3 out of 6. Won 3, lost 6. Now he's lost 7. He had, before tonight's game, 34.7 QBR. That's
we're all the Raven fans.
Horrible.
For RG3.
I know. He's 6-4 now he's 6-5 with a total of 43.9 total QBR at home versus the Bengals. I'm sorry. He's 6-4 with a 43. He's not very good against the Bengals either at home or away. That's a good fact to when we do these picks.
Yeah.
Because guys, don't forget, if you guys are still in it, make sure you do your picks for the Pick'em League. If you're in it, I don't think you guys are, and in the Survivor League, there's only like 6 teams left, and we were all knocked out last week. How close was this game, guys? In the series, all time is tied at 22-22. 10 out of the last 14 games has been decided by one possession.
So they
not tonight.
Yeah.
Broke out of that. During the game, Ravens linebacker C.J. Mosley was carted off with a knee injury. They don't know what the specifics
Hopefully
are.
He's all right.
He's in the last year of his contract, 5th-year option. So he's probably, if he's out for the year, he's next year. And then, guys, lastly, with the first quarter interception thrown by Joe Flacco, he has 75 interceptions since 2013 for Joe Flacco. That is the second most in the NFL. The number 1 interception guy in the whole league since 2013 is our opponent this weekend, the dirty New York Giants quarterback, Eli Manning. He has Flacco threw his 75th. That was in the first quarter, so he probably threw a couple more. Eli has 85. Let's make it 90, guys, after this weekend. He has 85 over that span since 2013. Let's see what happens, guys. But both of them have won Super Bowls. Eli has one too, and Flacco has one. But they don't look like very good quarterbacks, right? So they came through when they need be. So again, final shout-outs, final comments.
Bub and me, Game Time 3D, Justin Quarles, Regier, Diego Mesas, LT. Thank you for joining us. Looking crazy. Thank you, man. Again, shoot us an email. Let us know. Let me see who else. Incognito in the house. James Sorrells, thank you for rocking out with us.
Yes.
Let me see.
Sorry,
Not too
can you
many.
guys measure?
Stone Cold,
We're here 3 hours, guys.
5-star. And yeah, I can't go back any farther.
Yeah,
And
guys,
that's
I mean,
G Wiz,
G
41.
Wiz.
What's
And don't
up?
forget Scorpio, who's leading the leaderboard right now, man, with his big
Yes.
$20 maher
Yes,
today,
thank
guys.
you,
Thank you.
Scorpio.
Dropping it down.
Thank you, of course, to DJ
The-
Crown,
the-
fifth quarter Cowboys.
Yes.
And guys, go sub it up to Dallas Cowboy Football News, Dallas
The
Cowboy
whole
Fan
crew.
1980, and Space Cowboy 17.
The round table, guys. Dallas Cowboy Football
Make
fan.
sure
Never
to
heard
check
hand.
out Ari Temkin, guys.
Yes,
Make sure,
Ari
go back if you missed
Temkin.
it.
3 hours ago.
The first 20 minutes of the stream, we're lucky enough to be able to talk to him, pick his brain a little bit, so go ahead and check it out. If you're watching this on the replay, the links will already be in the description, but if you guys are watching this live, check out the links in the description. Once the video is over, we're going to go ahead and post them there.
And again, to the leader right now, let me just see here. I wanted to check one thing here. Well, no. Okay. No, I just wanted to say that our current leader right now and our, big time dropper, Scorpio,
766,
much love to you. Thank you to the other drop today, Eastside Harold. Even though
With the $2
he likes to throw it around
maher.
and push around and stuff. But that's all good, man, because we appreciate your questions too. So, or your comments even. So he's up on the board as well. Thank you both. You got DJ Crown J, of course, as you said, fifth quarter Cowboys, sub up to him. But he's number 2 on our board. Stone Cold, sub up. These guys all, I think, have channels and stuff. Subscribe, check them out. These guys have good stuff. Young Wilson, who's last week's weekly winner. Much love to you. Aloha, always. He's in Hawaii, guys. That's awesome. Cowboys abroad in Yumi. They're in Japan. This is awesome. I love this, man. And Eastside Harold,
Young
as you can
Wilson
see.
all the way in Hawaii.
Yeah, Young Wilson, Eastside Harold, tied for number 4th, and nobody at 5th
You
right now.
guys are all
so
over.
thank you all, man. Thank you, every single one of you guys up all around here and all around over there. And fiance, thank you so much. And our Cowboys.
Yes.
2 rebound this week, baby. That's right. And beat that Eli and Odell, you know who, and the whole damn team, Saquon. And let's get our first win of the year, guys, at home on national television. Come on. Let's do this, guys. Come on, Cowboys Nation. The guys that are attending, be loud and represent.
That's right. With that said, guys, the number one thing, why we do what we do here, why we've been here for 3 hours, why we're crazy, why we yell at the carrot, why we do what we do here. Always.
You know what it's about, guys. It's always about the navy blue. And that's silver. All right. And this right here, that star that we wear and we're proudly displaying for life, guys. Win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly. It doesn't matter. It's always about one thing here. Never forget, guys. Now and forever. Till death. Go Cowboys! Woo! Come on, baby. Let's do it. And much love to Ari Temkin. Thank you, guys. Look at the links below in the description. We're going to switch it up now. You'll be watching this replay. It's going to be fixed by then. Much love to him. Much love to all the donators and sponsors to this channel, to Young Wilson, Cowboys Abroad, the whole crew, and, of course, Scorpio, man, for the dropper and Eastside and the whole crew, guys. Thank you all.
We'll make sure to catch you tomorrow.
And the whole crew in the
Fan
chat.
Friday.
Yes, Fan Friday. It's going to be fun.
Technically Fan Friday, at least for us and for
2 hours
almost
in.
everybody. In about half an hour, it'll be Fan Friday for you guys on the West Coast.
Much love.
Catch you tomorrow.
Hit that like, guys. Subscribe, notification bell, and make sure you drop all those things. But before all those things, we just told you about dropping. You know we always drop something else. What is it?
The beat.